Hey everyone, this is Stefan James, and we are live right now on the Project Life Mastery YouTube channel. It's so great to be here with you guys today. I'm so excited to be live with you guys. I haven't gone live here on YouTube in quite a while now. Haven't been as active as much in terms of engaging in this way. But I thought, let's do something live, let's connect, let's answer questions. You guys can ask me anything you guys want. I'll do the best I can to answer them for you because, I really just want to serve and support you today. I want to see what I can do today to be a blessing in your life. What can I do or share that could perhaps help you achieve what you want in life if you have a certain focus or goal or direction of what you're moving towards. Or if you have a challenge, if you have a problem, if you have an obstacle that's showing up in your life and preventing you from getting what you want or living the life you want, then share it. Oftentimes we don't have people in our lives, a coach or mentor, someone that cares about us that we can reach out to and get help from. So I hope to be able to be that for you in some way, shape, or form. So because we're live, I want to see who is joining in. And by the way, I've got my computer here right in front of me. You guys can't see it, but I can see the live chat. And so let me know here, guys, in the chat, your name and where in the world you are joining in from. I'd love to know your name because on YouTube there's, the username, but I'd love to know your personal name. Where in the world are you right now? I'm joining you guys from my hometown of Vancouver, Canada. Been here now for the last month and a half, which has been great. The weather's been warming up, which has been beautiful because I think there's no better place to be in the world than in Vancouver when the weather's good. And so it's been great being back here, and I'll be here for the next few months for summertime. But if you guys follow my content and my videos, you guys know that I'm usually traveling all over the place and in different environments. And so this is the environment that I'm here for the next few months. Okay, so let's see who we got in the chat, and hopefully you guys can see and hear me okay. All right. All right, we've got Jonathan from Missouri. Welcome, Jonathan. We got Jim from New Jersey. Welcome, Jim. Thanks for being here. We got Mark from London. Hey, Mark. We got Kayla from Virginia. Hey, Kayla. We got Mihail from London. Welcome. Thank you. Thanks for being here. I got someone else here from Virginia, someone from Kenya. Very cool. Kenya, one of my favorite places to travel to. In the Masai Mara is where I've done some volunteer work and built some schools, which has been a lot of fun and very rewarding. We've got someone here from Alberta, great fellow Canadian, welcome. We got someone here from Texas. We got Eloy from Colorado, welcome Eloy. Mustafa from India, welcome. Thanks for taking the time, and thank you just for joining in whatever time zone that you might be in. We got Sayak from India. We got James from Edinburgh. All right, we got Zoe from Yorkshire in the UK. We've got all types of people from, there's just too many people to shut out right now, but I see you guys. Thank you guys so much for your love, for your support, for joining. I could go on and on, but we'll spend the whole, amount of time here just giving shout outs. So thank you guys so much for your time being here today. Now, before we dive into your questions, a few things that I want to mention. Is actually I want to kind of give you guys a preview of what's coming here on Project Life Mastery because, I don't really promote my content that much. I just record my videos every week or two and put them up on YouTube and share them with you guys. But, I love my videos I'd love for you guys to consume my videos and content. I know many of you guys do, but I want to share with you guys what's coming and what you guys can look forward to so that you guys can keep an eye out for it. And hopefully something that I share can really benefit you guys. So just give me a moment here. I'd like to share with you guys and promote myself a little bit, if I may. Next week, I've got a great video that's coming out for you guys on how to create wealth even if you have no money. Now, this is a video that I think is life-changing because I really spent the time to backwards engineer and identify what are the steps that I took to create wealth. What are the steps that I took, but what are also the universal and consistent steps that I've learned over the last 15 plus years of obsessively studying success and learning from the most successful people? What are the steps that they did, including myself, to achieve wealth that you can as well? And so this is a pretty in-depth video. I think it's going to be released next Tuesday. And I take into consideration the fact if you're someone that is struggling financially, you don't have much money, maybe you're in debt, and you're in that position at zero, how do you create wealth? What are the steps and what's the path that you can take? And as usual with my content, I like to always first start and acknowledge the inner game. not just the outer game, because it's the inner game that's going to produce what's on the outside in your life. And if you don't make the changes up here in your life and make that shift, then you can have the ambition and you can take action, you can follow through on strategies, or there could be opportunities to create wealth in your life, but you're not going to take advantage of it unless you make the changes up here. So that's coming for you guys on Tuesday. And then on Thursday, a video that I just recorded the other day, which I'm excited for, is on archetypes. And it goes into the 4 archetypes of self-mastery is what I call them, but they're known as the king, warrior, magician, lover. Now, this video, it's not the sexiest video title. And sometimes, you know, for me, the deepest work that I like to do and share and the stuff that I do on myself, unfortunately doesn't do as well on YouTube in terms of reaching the most amount of people, because I found that oftentimes on a platform like YouTube, and I understand it, I don't judge this in any way, but most people, they click on things that are more flashy or more, you know, superficial type of topics, and that's totally fine. But I'm personally, and I believe in the deep stuff can make the biggest changes in us. And this is a video that I did that goes pretty deep into archetypes and the collective unconscious. If you're familiar with Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist, who kind of took the idea of the unconscious mind from Sigmund Freud and discovered we have this collective unconscious, and that part of our psyche, there's a universal archetypes that we can all relate and connect to. And if you can tap into that and access it, it can radically transform your life. So this is a video that's coming on Thursday, and I want to encourage you guys to watch it. I want to encourage you guys to keep your eyes out for it, because it'll help you identify which part of yourself that you need to bring out more in order to be more whole, to actualize your potential, to achieve success, but also to live a more meaningful and more fulfilling life. And so stay tuned for that. That's going to be probably next Thursday. And then another video that I did that will be coming out probably in the next 2 weeks is on the title of the video is, if I started over tomorrow, here are the 10 things that I would do to make $1 million from scratch. And so this is a video where I take a step back. If I had nothing, like tomorrow I lost everything, and I'm gonna even act as if and assume that I'm losing everything in terms of I don't have my skills, I don't have my abilities, I don't have my mindset. You know, I'm starting over, because 35-year-old Stefan is very different than 21-year-old Stefan. You know, I've grown and developed in so many ways. And so if I lost everything tomorrow, I could build it back, you know, a lot faster, obviously, than it took me the first time around, because I have the confidence and I have skills and I have all these things that I've cultivated and learned. And so I act as if I don't have any of that, and I'm on that journey of being broke, starting from zero, creating $1 million from scratch. Here's the steps that I would take. And so that's a video that's gonna be coming for you guys. And as usual, my videos can go pretty long and pretty in depth, because I just try to give so much and add so much value. And so I hope you guys stay tuned for that. And I think that's a really important one, because, you know, some people, you know, if you just inherit money, you know, you win the lottery or something like that, you make $1 million. It's not about what you get in life, it's about who you become. Because I could give you a fish and feed you for a day, but I want to teach you how to fish so that you can feed yourself for a lifetime. And that's what you get, really, is who you become on the journey towards success. Because you can give someone $1 million, but most often people lose it when they win the lottery. They lose that money because they sabotage it. They haven't cultivated the habits of managing finances or managing their spending, or, you know, just how to invest their money. And there's all these different inner game components that prevent people from having success. It's no different than if you take someone who's 300 pounds and they get liposuction, you remove 100 pounds of fat from their body. You know, they might be 100 pounds less, but it's in a matter of months or years, they gain it all back, because not unless you change your eating habits, not unless you change your activity throughout the day, not unless you make changes in your psychology, you're gonna end up back where you were. So we all have this threshold, this level that we always find a way to get back to, this identity, that if we don't change it, if we don't change our identity and our beliefs and our values, then we can't get to where we want to go. We always take 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, and just end up right where we started. So those are videos coming for you guys, and I want to encourage you guys, subscribe here on Project Life Mastery if you aren't already, to get notified of those videos, and hit on that the the bell icon to get notified of those videos as well when they come over the next few weeks. So I want to mention that. Okay, before we dive into questions, what else? Okay, 2 more things I'll mention for you guys. For those of you that have been following along, and some of you guys might not be aware of this, but over the last 2 weeks or so, I've been, partnered up in a strategic way with Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi and a whole host of other incredible human beings. Many of you guys know Tony Robbins has been a huge mentor in my life, and I've shared with you guys this Own Your Future Challenge. And it was a huge success. There's over 900,000 people that registered for it. There's one of the biggest events, the biggest online events of people getting together to want to improve and master their life. It was all about the self-education revolution, which is what you guys are a part of. You guys watching my YouTube videos or other YouTube videos or reading books or going through courses and training programs and seminars and coaches. That's all called self-education. It's realizing that there's flaws in getting a traditional education through university, but instead you're going to take your education into your own hands and you're going to go to Google, YouTube, whatever it takes on the internet to find the answers that you need that they never taught you in school. That's self-education. That's why you guys are here. You guys are just like myself who, been committed to educating and growing and learning as much as they possibly can. And so what this event was about was the best in the world at what they do. And Tony Robbins, I'd say, is the best and has been for 4 decades or so, is sharing with people how they can build their own business in this industry. So similar to what I've done here with Project Life Mastery, most of you guys know I've had a lot of experience and success in many different online business models, but of everything that I've done, including Amazon and affiliate marketing and all the different things that I've done online, I've really always come back to what I do here at Project Life Mastery on YouTube as a coach, as a mentor, just really sharing with people things, because this not only it can be rewarding financially, but more importantly, it's rewarding emotionally. It's what allows me to have a sense of mission and purpose and contribution in my life. And maybe at first when you're trying to create success or you don't have success, you're down that path and journey and you're desperate and you're trying to make money so that you can pay your bills or that you can quit your job or get out of some sort of pain. But once you get out of that, it doesn't really become about the money as much, because at a certain point, once you make certain amounts of money, it doesn't really change your life that much more. I mean, once you're making a good income, you can support yourself and support your family and, maybe be able to travel or do certain things like that. Really your money at that point just ends up being savings and investments in real estate or stock, and you just hold it and it grows and compounds over many decades. And maybe when you're old, you enjoy some of that, but you're probably going to give it away or share it or with your family or whatever it might be. And so at a certain point, I've learned that, just being focused on making money, which, I definitely was when I first started because I didn't have any, it didn't really motivate me at a certain point. And so at this stage of my life, really what I'm motivated by is be able to share with you guys and make an impact in your life and to pay forward the things that have helped me in my life. And if I can help you get out of pain and out of suffering and to get into prosperity or freedom or abundance, then that's a beautiful thing. And I think the world needs that. I think the world needs people that once they've achieved a level of success, they're not just selfish and just hoarding all their information and knowledge and experience and skills for themselves, but we need people that are willing to share and give back so that other people can benefit. And that's how I benefited, are from the Tony Robbins and the Brian Tracy's and the Jim Rohns and all the old school self-help guys. I'm thankful that they shared with me and they had products and programs and content and all those things available, because I wouldn't be where I am today. And I'm kind of that next generation where I can share with you guys, and hopefully you guys can pay it forward and do well enough in your life and help other people once you achieve a level of success. And so that's what I'm passionate about and doing what I love. And, I could obviously make a lot more money doing other things too, selling other products and selling on Amazon or whatever else. But again, it doesn't really check the box for me in just the fulfillment and the contribution and things like that. So if you're someone that is interested in that similar kind of path, like you want to be someone like myself where you want to help other people in this way and make an impact, and yes, you can achieve a lot of great success and make some great money too, then that's what Tony and Dean have put together with their Own Their Future Challenge. And they launched this program called Project Next. And so if you've been following along with that, Today is the last day that their whole offer and their bonuses of what they put together expires tonight at midnight. And so I've actually got some bonuses as well that I put together because I'm a partner of theirs and an affiliate and believe in what they're doing and want to share it so that other people can learn from the best and, you know, be able to share their knowledge and be able to make that impact as well. So if you go to the description of this video on YouTube, I've got 2 links. One link is to Project Next. So if you want to learn about it, what's in the program, you guys can check it out there, as well as my bonuses that I put together. You guys can check that out in the description. So I want to mention that for those of you that are here for that purpose, because I did send an email broadcast to those of my audience that are into Project Next and did the Own the Future Challenge, and I invited them to this stream as an opportunity to ask me any questions about that. So I just want to share that with you guys as well. And last thing before we dive in, and by the way, I got Steve, someone on my team, my manager, who is moderating the chat right now. He will share some links for you guys in the chat so that you guys can check those out too. And now, before we dive into questions, I know there's a lot of questions that have been coming in, and I apologize if I missed some of them. And unfortunately, I've done this enough. I'm just not going to be able to answer everyone's questions. And I know sometimes when you do a stream like this, there's some people that can be quite demanding about getting their questions answered. You know, they can be quite persistent around it. And so I'm going to do the best I can. I apologize if I don't get to your questions, but I'm also going to try to pick what I feel to be the questions that are most relevant to everybody here, or the most amount of people here. And so if you do have a question that's very, very specific just to you, I might gloss over that question because I want to choose a question that by providing an answer can add value to the most amount of people. I want to try to do this in an intelligent way so that I can have the greatest impact. And so that's why I might be, you know, a bit selective about some questions and choose the ones that I feel can be the most relevant to the most amount of people. So hopefully you can understand and respect that. You know, otherwise I do some live streams once in a while on my Instagram and things like that too, which you guys might be interested in. Or as part of my Project Next bonus, I do have group coaching where you can ask me questions, get coached by me, and that's where we can go more specific because I answer everyone's questions in the more intimate group coaching settings that I put together with my bonuses and my Life Mastery Accelerator or Online Business Mastery Accelerator as well. Okay, so I just want to preface that just by mentioning it. So with that being said, let's dive into the questions. That's my long introduction, but don't worry, I'm going to be here for probably a few hours, and let's dive in. So let me just grab a drink here. All right. All right, here's a great question from Daniel. Been watching you since early high school and just finished college. Wow, thank you so much for your support over the years, Daniel. What's your recommendation for a great seminar for under 1K in the US? Will you be putting on a seminar sometime? Daniel, I don't have any intention right now putting on any events or seminars. I've done more intimate masterminds for online business, and I've done seminars, you know, in the past and whatnot. But right now, I have no immediate plans. That could change in the future. But I'd say probably one of the best seminars that everyone should experience. I'll give you guys two different seminars that are under $1,000 that are well worth the value. Worth way more than the value, and I think everybody should go through them because they're a great introduction. And there's a lot of other seminars and events that will cost a lot more, but there's very few that have been around this long and have been perfected to the highest possible standard of what they are now. And the 2 seminars would be, number 1, Unleash the Power Within with Tony Robbins. This is an event that right now you can do it virtually. In fact, he's got one coming up, I think in June, a virtual event, and I'll be attending it again. It's actually going to be my 9th time attending this seminar, and I think it's like $500. And so it doesn't get much better than that. That's very inexpensive for a seminar, but also the value that you get from it. And it's actually, you know, obviously when you're in an in-person event and seminar, there's nothing like that. The energy is incredible, especially Tony Robbins events, because he uses the best sound systems, and there's music, and there's, you know, video, and there's just all these different elements, and you're there with like 10,000 people. It's truly nothing like it. So I can recommend, if you can do it in person, amazing. But the virtual experience, I did it with Tatiana, and actually I brought my entire team at Project Life Mastery to do it with me, because I wanted them to experience it and I wanted to gift that to them. And I just actually paid for my sister to go and do the virtual one recently as well. But the virtual one is cool because you get to do it in your home. You don't have to travel. You don't have to get a hotel. But there's something special about doing an event and a seminar in your home, especially a Tony Robbins event, because he's helping you change your emotional home. You know, we all have an emotional home. For a lot of people, their emotional home is stressed and depressed and frustrated and negative and worrying all the time. And that's their emotional home. And your emotional home is the emotional states that you consistently feel and experience, that you've conditioned so much that you now live there. And so what Tony Robbins helps you to do is to change that emotional home. It's an experience, an event that's not just about knowledge and information, but it's really about how you can change your state and experience more love and happiness and joy and confidence and certainty and gratitude, all the beautiful states that you want to experience in your life, how to condition that so that that becomes your new emotional home. So I would say that event is a must. Can highly recommend it. I actually, you guys can just go to TonyRobbins.com, but I actually think I have a coupon that can save you guys $100. If you are interested, I don't know if it works or not. This is something from a long time ago. But if you do end up signing up for it, try using the coupon MASTERY on your checkout, and you might be able to save. I don't know if it's still relevant or not, but that's something that I'll share with you guys. That's that. And then the second one I would recommend would be Landmark Forum, which also is like a $500-600 event. And this is one that's not as mainstream as Tony Robbins. It actually originated, I think, from the 70s by Werner Erhard, I think is his name, and it started as EST and became Landmark Forum, and that's a really powerful event and experience. I've done that one twice, and shared it with many people. That's a great one too, and I think they're doing virtual right now. That one I haven't done the virtual version of it, but I think the in-person one is truly impactful and would be probably my preference. But those are two seminars that I think you could definitely benefit from. Okay. Okay, here's a question from Aisha. Hey Steph, I'm struggling trying to decide between doing FBA or chasing my passion, which is fitness. I would love to earn passive income, however, I would love to enjoy what I do. Help me out, please. Aisha, do both. Do both and actually combine them together as one. See, why can't you sell a fitness product on Amazon through Amazon FBA? You can find a product that you want to sell on Amazon that's related to fitness. It could be a foam roller, it could be a jump rope, it could be boxing gloves, it could be whatever. It could be a yoga mat. There's so many different fitness products. It could be different supplements or whatever it might be. But you can choose a product to sell on Amazon in that niche, and then at the same time, simultaneously, fitness, I'm not sure what type of fitness you're referring to, but at the same time, you could sell and promote your product if you want to build your own YouTube channel, on fitness. And you could put out great quality content around fitness, and then you can share with people and your audience to check out your product on Amazon. Or you could build your Facebook group or a Facebook page, or you could run ads. You could build a blog on fitness. You could build a podcast on fitness. So you could sell a fitness product on Amazon and have that be related to your passion. In fact, I know a lot of Amazon FBA sellers that are people like personal trainers, right? They've already got their client base. They meet people one-on-one, and they create a physical product, and with their clients, they share that with them. Even just recently, I went to a naturopath. I did just yesterday, actually, I did a vitamin and a glutathione IV drip. And the naturopathic doctor, she had her own supplements that she private labeled. And so she has her own physical products, and she probably sells them on Amazon as well. But here she's got clients coming in to improve their health. And then she's also selling a physical product to them that can also help them too. But the physical product is what allows the person to create passive income, because it's no longer dependent on the individual. You don't have to trade your time for money for it. So You could do both, absolutely. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Why not, find a fitness product and build your brand or build your fitness business and just have your product as one product across many methods of monetization, many streams of income. That's ideally what you want to build when you're building your business. But you also want to think, what's the plan for your business? What's the long term? If I think about Project Life Mastery can have physical products. I could have journals and flashcards and day planners, and there could be an Amazon FBA element to it. I could have books that I could sell. I could do affiliate marketing. I could have courses. I can sell merchandise. I can do YouTube ad revenue. There's all these different streams of income that I get with Project Life Mastery because I didn't just limit myself to thinking that it has to be one or the other. So I think about how can I build something that has all of that fit within it and they all complement and support one another. All right, let's dive into some more questions here, guys. Okay, here's a question from Young Pantomith. Because of various recent failures, I lose my confidence I will do anything good. What can I do to improve my situation? All right, great question. Thanks for asking this because I think there's a lot of people that can relate. If you set a goal or you have an intention or you have an expectation and it doesn't work out the way that you expected, oftentimes a lot of people, they perceive that as failure. And when you perceive that as failure, then that affects your self-esteem and your confidence. And you think to yourself, well, I failed, I made an attempt, I went for it, but now I'm disappointed, and that pain prevents you from going for it again or to take new action. In fact, a lot of people, what happens is they experience failure and disappointment again and again and again, that eventually they get to the point of learned helplessness where they believe that nothing will work, and then all of that is just bullshit, and it's all a scam, and it's just all a pipe dream, and it's not true, and it's not possible, and they become so skeptical that they close off themselves. They build a wall and a barrier to try to protect themselves of pain because they're so terrified of failure, because oftentimes they make it mean that they're not good enough. And so people, they stay in their comfort zone, also known as their danger zone, and they never make an attempt ever again, and they live their whole life in regret, angry and resentful and frustrated. And when they see someone else successful or someone else pursuing their goals and their dreams and making things happen, then oftentimes it makes them feel insignificant because it shines a spotlight on their failure and their missed opportunity. And so they judge that person, they try to bring them down. And that's why we see on the internet, there's a lot of trolls out there, right? Or just really, I don't perceive them as trolls. They're good people. I think everyone's got a good heart, a good soul, but they've had pain and suffering, and they've learned certain behaviors as a way to protect themselves. And they write negative things, which is just really a projection of the state that they feel inside. They are suffering and they're going through a hard time, and they project that to others, and they write negative and mean things or try to tear other people down. Because look, there's two ways to have the tallest building in a city. You can build it yourself, which requires years of sacrifice and hard work and commitment and resourcefulness and creativity and figuring things out and failure and disappointment, but overcoming it. And then you could build the tallest building in the city. That's one way. The second way is you could tear down everyone else. And how fast can you tear down a building? You can tear down a building in a day, right? Versus building a building will take you several years. And so oftentimes people tear down others so that they can feel more significant. And it's kind of sad. So in life, you're either a warning or an example. People like that are negative and complain and whine and project that sort of stuff, they're a warning of how not to live in life. And you can learn from that, right? You can learn from people's failures. You can learn from people and say, I don't want to be like that, so I'm going to go in this direction. Or you could be an example of what's possible. So here's the thing. Here's what has to change in your mindset. There's no such thing as failure. There's no such thing as failure. Failure is a meaning. It's an interpretation that you made up around a certain event in your life. You made it mean that it's a failure, and therefore it equals pain in my life, and I don't want to experience that pain again. If you can change your mindset to instead realize that that's not failure, That's a lesson. There's a learning there. There's a gift in this experience of what happened. And there's an opportunity in that. If you change your perception, you look at it in that way, then it's no longer a painful event. It can actually be a pleasurable event. It can actually now be a gift for you in your life. And you've got to start to fail forward. I think it was Churchill that said that success is going from failure to failure to failure to failure and not losing enthusiasm along the way. So if you can recognize that everyone fails, the most successful people, they've failed more than the people that just give up. But the difference is they don't view it as failure. They don't view it as failure. If you look at a Thomas Edison, he failed over 1,000 times to invent the light bulb, before eventually it lit. But he didn't perceive them as failure. He said every wrong attempt was, every attempt that he made that didn't work out was just a stepping stone for him. And he learned from every single one. And actually some of his failures led to successes. For example, one failure that he had actually led to this other invention that was really valuable. So that's how you have to look at things, is you just don't look at things as failure. You look at it as a gift. Recently I lost about $5,000, and I've had many experiences of losing money and making poor decisions at different times, and had certain losses. But I lost $5,000 because I hired this lawyer that, unfortunately, this lawyer just stopped responding to me for like a month. And it was actually my choice to say, you know what, because I had a retainer with this lawyer, and I said, as an immigration lawyer, and I'm like, listen, I just can't work with you anymore. And she sent me her billable hours for $11,000. And meanwhile, I paid her $5,000. But I was just like, you know what, I'm going to take the loss of the $5,000 because you haven't been responsive. I can't trust you. I can't work with someone who's just not responsive. That's just not professional. So I took that loss and I just moved on and, got a new lawyer. But I didn't view that as failure. I said, okay, from that experience, and you might say, oh, easy for you, you have money, whatever. But I've had over $100,000 failure once, where I lent a friend $130,000. It was supposed to be returned back to me within 3 months as part of this real estate deal, and he paid back, I think, $30,000 and $100,000, declared bankruptcy last year, and I lost $100,000. So I've had significant amounts of money and failures like that. But what I've done is I look at it and say, what's the good in this? What can I learn from this? What's the growth? What's the lesson? And from each one of those, I've learned, you know what? I could have made a better decision. I could have taken more time and to interview this lawyer and got references. There's things that I could have done. There's certain red flags I could have noticed and paid attention to. I could have done this. I could have done that. I've looked at all the things that I could have done better, that could have avoided or prevented that, or I can take that with me in the next experiences in my life. And maybe even though I lost $5,000, maybe that is a blessing, because maybe there's valuable lessons that I needed to pull from that event, that if I don't get that now, there could be a deal or an opportunity or a situation in my life that if I didn't get these lessons and I made that same mistake, could be $100,000 or $1 million mistake. So I'm grateful for the $5,000 mistake, because the lessons can help me prevent an even bigger mistake or a bigger pain point in my life, or it can help me make more money in some way, shape, or form. In fact, oftentimes my failures and my disappointments were actually the fuel and motivation that helped me create success. Because look, if my life turned out perfectly, I didn't have the challenges and the problems growing up with my family, and my parents went through a bankruptcy and they went through a divorce, and if I didn't go through all that pain or being bullied and all that sort of stuff, and my life was just good, it was just like mediocre, then I wouldn't have been motivated to have created the life that I've created and become the person that I am today. So it was because of the failure and the pain and all that stuff that motivated me to make changes in my life. And that's the actual very reason why I'm successful. So your pain in your life can be your greatest gift, your greatest motivator. Have you ever noticed how oftentimes the most successful people are the people that have been through hell and back, they've hit rock bottom, they hit that emotional threshold, they made a change in their life? Those are the people that are inspirations. Oftentimes, these rich kids that grow up and they don't have to lift a finger and they got everything given to them and they're spoiled. those are the ones that don't have any motivation, right? Those are the ones they have no purpose or compelling reason to take massive action. So your pain is your friend if you use it that way and you channel it in the direction of where you want to go. So there's more I can say on that, but I think that's a great question because I think everyone can relate to experiencing the pain and disappointments. And I'm going to go through more failures and disappointment. That's called living. It's risky to live a life. It's risky to be in business. It's risky to get outside your house and your apartment and go and live out in the world, interacting with people. People can be a source of pain and it can also be a source of pleasure. But if you just close yourself off from any sources of pain, then you don't have a life, right? So you have to take risk in your life and you have to step outside that comfort zone, but you have to be equipped that when you go out in the world, when you're achieving success in business, all these different things and relationships, you have to have the tools and the mindset about how to deal with and handle disappointment and failure. And if you do, then you're unstoppable. It doesn't stop you in your life. So that's something you got to really work on, my friend. You got to master your mindset, master your psychology. If you can master that, then everything else can fall into place. All right, great questions. Okay, we got a special one here, big and yellow. I think this is like a super chat. Janelle says, I'm already enrolled in your online classes. Do you offer private coaching via phone or video chat? So Janelle, unfortunately I don't. I get a lot of requests for one-on-one coaching and things of that nature. And I used to do that back in the day. But, I just don't have enough time, unfortunately, to be able to do that right now. I only work about 10 to 15 hours a week and at this stage, and maybe more if there's a certain project, but I'm good with that. I'm happy and content. I put out 2 videos a week. I share in that way. I've got some great programs I've put together. I do my online business mastery accelerator, my life mastery accelerator, and make myself available for that every month for those that want to ask me questions or get coaching from me. But I just don't really want to commit more into that because, in business, there's so many opportunities. Like, it's a great quality problem to have. For example, I haven't done an interview, like been on someone's podcast or something like that, I think in about 2 or 3 years now, and I get tons of requests. I'm actually going to be doing one though, or 2. One of them, I'm going to be on the Alpha M. I'm not sure if you guys know him on YouTube. He's got a huge audience. His name's Aaron. He invited me to be on his podcast, and so I'll be on his podcast. And actually, the interview that I did before was with Dr. Phil. I was on the Dr. Phil show, from those of you guys that saw that episode earlier this year. So there's a lot of things like that in business. Once you get to a certain point, there's so many opportunities that can come up that could either help more people or you can, make more money in cases like that. But I made a decision that I don't want my life just to be about that. I want to use my business as a vehicle to share, to help, to serve. It's something as a business I can make money from as well. But, I only want to dedicate 15 hours a week. And honestly, it's because I'm really passionate about cultivating and growing in the other areas of my life. I like to spend my time, just being present throughout the day and being away from technology and spending time with Tatiana and my puppy Kobe and traveling and, taking up different hobbies and things like that too, and working on my fitness and my spirituality and things like that. And so it's tough because there's temptation sometimes to take on more in my business. But for me, I'm more after a fulfilling life. I'm more after a life that I'm truly passionate about. And so the next best thing, what I would say is join my Life Mastery Accelerator or my Online Business Mastery Accelerator. I think there's in the description of my YouTube channel here, this YouTube video, if you go down, there's like a courses link. You can see my courses there, but my Life Mastery and Online Business Mastery Accelerator is where I do more intimate coaching, and that would be the next best thing. Okay. Let's see here. Who's next? All right, here's one. Sorry, I really cannot pronounce your name, but the question is, what's your advice for a 19-year-old? I've gotten this question quite often, and my response to this has been the same. If I were to give myself advice at 19 years old, I would have told myself, Stefan, invest more in yourself. Invest more in yourself, because when you're young, that is the best opportunity of your life. When you're young at 19 years old, you have your whole life ahead of you, okay? And you haven't formed, as other people do when they're a lot older, a lot of their limiting beliefs and limiting stories and limiting habits and addictions and patterns that really hold them back in their life. When you're younger, you're typically more open-minded and you're more naive, you haven't had as much experience. But that's a great opportunity, because you can really grow and cultivate yourself into being the person that you want to be. And the best way to do that, especially when you're young or if you're old, is going to be by making investments in yourself and investing in your personal development. And so this is what I did. I started when I was 17 years old, and the fact that you're 19 is a huge advantage, because look, there's people on this stream right now, and there's people that I interact with that are in their 40s, their 50s, and their 60s. And all of them will say to you, and they're just getting into personal development now, they're like, man, I wish I started when I was younger. I wish that I was in your situation at 19 years old. Man, if I was in that position, my life would have ended up very differently, and I would have benefited from all that I had invested in. Because often when you make an investment in yourself or in a stock or in real estate or in business, you see the ROI 5 years, 10 years in the future, and it compounds, and you really start to see the ROI 10, 20, 30, 40 years, right? So for me, the investments that I made in myself when I was 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 years old, those decisions, the seminars I went to, the books that I read, the courses that I went through, all of that, I'm experiencing the benefits of today at 35 years old, right? So I look back, I'm grateful for those decisions that I made, because my beliefs, my thoughts, my mindset, my emotions, my habits of exercise and health, managing money, the success that I've created, all of that has been the result of decisions that I made 5, 10, 15 years ago, right? And if I didn't make those decisions, I'd have a very different life today. So if you're 19, if you're 20, if you're young right now, think about where you're going to be 10, 15, 20 years from now. Wherever you're going to be 10, 15, 20 years from now is going to be based on what you decide to do today. Today, right now in your life. Right now in your life, you can change where you'll end up 10 years from now. Because look, where you are right now in your life is the byproduct of decisions that you made in your past. If right now you're struggling, you're broke, you're depressed, you're alone, you have all these challenges in your life, I hate to tell you this, but a big part of what's contributed to that is decisions that you made 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Maybe you made poor decisions around your finances. Now today you're bankrupt, or you made poor decisions on a career or poor decisions in a relationship, and now you're in a relationship that you hate and you can't stand. And you didn't know how to choose a relationship because you didn't educate yourself, or maybe you didn't have the wisdom or the experience. So at a young age, the more that you can invest in thinking about your future and learning, growing, taking action, gaining experience, gaining wisdom, that's what's going to serve and support you for the rest of your life. So do as much of that as you can. I recognized that when I was young, and I read hundreds of books and was obsessive about that. And I listened to programs again and again and again and again. Went to seminars again and again and again. I learned about business and marketing. I studied relationships. I learned about health. I did all of those things as early as I could. But honestly, if I could go back, I would have done it even 10 times more, because I know if I did when I was 19, here today at 35, I'd be even better than I am now. So that's what I would say for you is, when you're young, it's very easy to get caught up in instant gratification, right? To just do things that feel good in the moment, right? There's a lot of temptations for that. There's a lot of things that you can do. It's very pleasurable to play video games, and it's very pleasurable just to watch Netflix, but it's just empty calories. You're getting pleasure in the moment, it makes you feel good, but that time that you spent doing that was a wasted opportunity. Jim Rohn, one of my mentors, said that watching TV, he says, your TV is your electronic income reducing machine. And that's because, every hour that you sit there watching TV is an opportunity that you could have spent making more money in a business or taking action in some way in your life that could produce more income. One of my other mentors, Brian Tracy, I think, he said that listening to the radio, right now there's, just randomly watching YouTube videos and whatnot. He says, listening to the radio is chewing gum for the ears. And instead, like people, they drive in their car and they listen to the radio, they listen to music. His belief was you want to turn your car into a university on wheels. And so like for me, when I had a job back in the day, I used to have to commute 30 minutes to and from work in the morning, and then, 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes after work. So that'd be 1 hour a day that I'd be driving in a car. And I realized, and I learned this from Brian Tracy, turn your car into a university on wheels. So I would listen to audio programs in my car for 1 hour a day, just driving back and forth. You know, and same thing, you can listen to a podcast where you go work out at the gym or do other things. And so for me, I was obsessive about getting the most out of my day and my time to invest it in the future. And that's paid off for me in a huge way. And I will say this, you got to have a bit of a balance about enjoying your life as well, because you don't want to just be sacrificing and delaying gratification forever. You make sacrifices that are temporary at a certain point, but at different times you also got to know and recognize when to enjoy the pleasures of life, when to have immediate gratification and when that's appropriate for you. And often I use that as a reward. So I'm not here to say that you should just sacrifice your whole life and not enjoy your life. There's a balance of it, but the more that you are willing to delay gratification for a time in the future, the sooner and the more that your life can change for the better. So that's just something to think about, but that's something that I would do, and the advice that I'd give to my younger self. All right, great questions, guys. Ooh, I see another big yellow, I think it's a super chat from Mihail. Hey, Stefan, what's your opinion about New Age beliefs and spirituality? Maybe you can have a video about this topic. I will much appreciate it. Great question. You know, for me, I've always been very open-minded. You know, that's kind of been, I think one of the most important qualities that I've had in my life is I've been very open-minded to anything that can enhance my life in any way, shape, or form. And I've never really had this belief system that I need to have the evidence and logic and, proof to support it, to have science to support it, because I think that can limit you, because there's so much that science doesn't know. I mean, most of life, science can't prove and has no answers for. And so if you're waiting for science to prove something before you believe in something, then you're going to be limited. So I've always had a mindset of being open. I'd much rather have a mind opened by wonder than a mind closed by belief. And I cultivate faith in my life, is when you believe when there's no reason to believe. You don't need evidence, but you just trust in a higher power. You trust in, for me, I have Christian beliefs, and I believe in God, and I believe in Jesus, and him dying on the cross, and all of that. Those are core spiritual belief for me. But at the same time, I have an open mind to learn about all religions, all religious beliefs, because all different belief systems, I think there can be value in it. There's value for me in Buddhism, certain belief systems there. There's value in Taoism and Confucianism and Hinduism and Tantra and all these different, religions and belief systems. I think there's something that you can pull from that, and it can be useful for you in your life. And the mindset I've always taken on is, with anything that's new that shows up in my life, the mindset I take is I don't judge it, or I don't just kind of shoot it down. Instead, what I try to invite myself to do is to try it on, to try it on. So follow me on this. If you go into a store, a clothing store, and there's you're trying to buy a suit, you're gonna take the suit off the rack and you're gonna try it on. And you're gonna see how you like it, see how it looks, see how it feels. It doesn't mean you have to buy it, but you can at least try it on. And if you don't like it, you can take it off, you can put it back on the shelf. That's the approach and the mindset that I've always tried to take, is I know what I know what I don't know, and I don't know what I don't know. And I recognize that I don't know that much in the grand scheme of things. I think it was Socrates that said that I know that I know nothing, or something like that. I want to find the exact quote here. I know, yeah, it was Socrates. Good memory. I know that I know nothing is actually maybe Plato or Socrates. Anyways, so for me, New Age spirituality, I know sometimes those that are Christian and, can be on the radical right of their belief and be very extreme in their belief system. There are other beliefs that they perceive as a threat to their belief, and so they're closed off to it. I'm not. I'm open to looking at different perspectives. I'm open at looking at different viewpoints. I'm open to understanding people in different ways. One model that I go off of and is a really useful model, it's based on developmental psychology. It's called spiral dynamics. And I've actually done a video on spiral dynamics on my YouTube channel several years ago. You guys can find it if you'd like, but I'll probably do another one, because spiral dynamics describes the different stages of consciousness that human beings go through, not just human beings, but societies. And there's, blue is, they kind of have them color coded, but blue is where you're very rules driven and you often have a closed-minded, might be very religious, but you're closed-minded to other beliefs and you're very judgmental of other people, and it's all about right and wrong. I'm right, everyone else is wrong. But there's higher stages of consciousness, and one of the stages, and you might not get this unless you've watched this video that I put out, but the stages of yellow is a stage where you can look at the other stages of consciousness and not have judgment around it, not think that you're right, everyone else is wrong, but you actually learn that there's a partial truth in everything. And there's no absolute truth, but there is a partial truth that you can pull from everything, every event, every experience, every philosophy, every belief system. And you can pull that and you can understand the context of those beliefs, and you can understand the utility of it in certain environments or different situations. And I try to operate more from that perspective, is I look at things from multiple different perspectives. And I think that's helped me understand the world a lot better, other people. Because look, we've got billions of people on this planet that have very different beliefs. And you can't say who's right and who's wrong, because the map is not the territory. We can't confuse that. So I recognize that reality is different for everybody. And I just want to learn and have as much of an open mind as I possibly can. And I think that that served me well. So if there's something from New Age belief, whether it's from Eckhart Tolle or whether it's from, one of these other, Oprah Winfrey, and there's people like that that are more New Age, great. Maybe there is something there that can benefit you. And for me, that's what I look at with beliefs is, what can benefit me, what can be of use to me in my life, but also serve other people as well. So hopefully that can answer your question. All right. Okay, Drango says, for an online business incorporation, I know you registered your business in Panama. I plan to do the same. Can you explain how that works for you? Do you get paid in your Panamanian corporate bank account? So Drango, I do have a corporation in Panama, but that's not where I operate my business from. I actually operate my business in Singapore. So I have some offshore companies, but Singapore is my main business of Project Life Mastery. And the reason for that, I'm a resident of Panama, so I'm a permanent resident and tax resident of Panama. I'm a Canadian citizen, but one of the benefits of being a resident of Panama is that you don't pay any taxes on foreign income. So if you make any money outside of Panama, you don't pay taxes on it. If I make money from the United States and I send it to myself, my personal bank account in Panama, there's no tax on that. If I make it from Singapore and I pay myself a dividend from my Singapore corporation, there's no tax on that. However, you pay taxes on income made in Panama. So for example, if you have a Panamanian corporation, you receive income, let's say from the United States, I don't think you pay taxes on that. But if you're a Panamanian resident and you're paying yourself from a Panamanian corporation, that's money made in Panama, because that's where it's coming from. You're going to pay taxes on that. So that's why, and by the way, the one thing with Panama too, it's a very difficult place from my experience to actually run an online business from. For example, like you can't even get PayPal really set up, in Panama. And, for me in my business, I use PayPal, I use Stripe, I use these different payment processors and whatnot. So you got to keep that in mind with certain, countries that you set up with. And so Singapore, I pay tax in Singapore. Singapore is actually one of the best banking countries in the world, better than the United States. So they have some of the best banking there. But also there's a lower tax rate. There's a 17% flat tax that you pay. So I still pay taxes. I pay taxes in Singapore. I still have corporations in Canada, so I pay taxes in Canada as well. If I pay myself from a Canadian corporation to myself in Panama, certain countries like Canada, there's a withholding tax of 25%. So for example, I have a rental property in Vancouver as well, and I collect rent from that as a real estate investment. Well, that rent is, I have to pay a 25% withholding tax on that because that's income that I'm making as a non-resident. So you'll never get out of taxes completely. You can strategize around it and optimize for it, but I chose Singapore and went down that path years ago to figure out the best structure for me based on my lifestyle and how I want to live my life. And it's paid off in some really incredible ways. So that's a benefit of an online business, the flexibility that you can have. There's a lot of benefits that people aren't aware of, but that's being one of them, is the ability to, you can get a lot further ahead by, if you are willing to be a bit of a digital nomad and live elsewhere and set up offshore corporations. So, all right. Let's dive into some more questions here, guys. Let's see. All right, Broad Tech Engineering says, what is your strategy and thought process when selecting a niche to enter into and a product to sell? What does your checklist look like? Okay, great question. So number one is that there has to be a demand. Okay, so there has to be a market, there has to be a demand, and you can prove and validate that just by doing your research to see other companies and businesses or products that are selling in that niche that are successful. That shows you how big the market is and the potential that you have in it. If you're trying to sell something in a market, there's just no demand, nobody wants it, then it's gonna be an uphill battle. So you gotta get in front of people that are looking to buy and have a problem that they're looking to solve, that you can come in and solve that problem for them. Next, there has to be a potential for profitability. So whatever niche that you get into, there might be a demand for it, but can you make money? Can you make money in that niche? What are all the ways that you could make money? Could you sell a physical product on Amazon? Could you sell a service that you might provide for people? Is there a book that you could sell? Is there a course that you could sell? Is there coaching that you could provide? Is there merchandise? Is there advertising opportunity and sponsorship revenue that could be made? You've got to study that niche to see, okay, who's making money and how are they making money? What are all the opportunities that are available for me in this niche? The third thing for me is something that I'm passionate about. At least have an interest in. Some people, they have a hard time knowing what their passion is, but at least having an interest in it, because I recognize that to do anything, you've got to be motivated to do it. And money is a motivator, yes, but if that's your only motivator, it might be an uphill battle. So I don't want to procrastinate. I want to be motivated and enjoy what I'm doing. And if it's something that I can make money from, but also be passionate and excited and interested in, and kind of treat it as a hobby at the same time, then that's going to give me an advantage, because I'm going to naturally want to put more effort, more time, more energy, and it's going to feel like it's a hobby that I get paid for. So that's another really important thing. And then from there, it really depends on what kind of product or kind of business, because if it's on Amazon, there's a number of other things you'd want to consider as your criteria. But for me, with my business, I like to kind of create a plan for my business, like a 5-year plan, and look, okay, I'm starting from nothing, right? And this is the niche that I'm going to get into. 5 or 10 years from now, like, what's the direction that I'm going to go? So I might think, okay, well, I'm going to start here, and then eventually I'm going to build up, and I'm going to have get all this traffic, and then I'm going to offer this product and that product, and I can offer this. And I kind of think about how it's going to grow and what the potential of that is. And the best thing also is that if you can find other people that are in that niche that are 5 to 10 years ahead of you that you can learn from, and they've already paved the way, that is also something that I look for, because I never try to reinvent the wheel. I never try to invent anything, okay? Especially if you're just getting started, because that's way too risky. I don't like taking big risks. I rarely ever take big risks. I take calculated risk. I take intelligent risks. I make decisions that I know in advance based on my research that it is going to pay off. and what to expect from that. I think once you have success and you're in a position of abundance, now you can afford to take even bigger risks, and you can, invent something, or you have the experience and the knowledge and the skills to be able to do that. But when you're first starting out at something, for me, I just try to look, who can I learn from, model that can get me there a lot easier and faster. And so if there's certain companies that I can subscribe to I can be a customer of theirs. I buy their products because I want to know what they're doing, what their packaging is, what their, what kind of experience that I have buying their products, so I can learn that and apply that to my business. I follow their blog, I follow their social media, I get on their email list, but I spend time in their business so that I can understand the business more and what's working for them, and I can take that and apply it to my business. It's kind of the philosophy of Sam Walton. Sam Walton's the founder of Walmart. He wrote a book called Made in America, a classic book, famous book. But he said that I spend more time in my competitors' stores than my own. And it's because I want to know what they are doing that I don't know. And so you have to humble yourself to look at, okay, who can I learn from? Who can I model? And just take different elements from that I can apply. And that will just save you time and help you get there so much faster. Okay, Percy says, and by the way, I'm just literally looking, answering my question, trying to be present with the question that you guys have. Look down, I'll pick a new question and answer it for you guys just to be more efficient. How many times a week do I work out? Usually about 3 to 5 times a week. However, right now it's a little bit less. The building that I live in right now has a gym, but you can only schedule it twice a week, which is a bit of a pain, just because, there's different COVID restrictions and whatnot in Canada and where I am. But yeah, I prefer to work out 5 days a week if I can, even every day, because I found that sometimes when I do like the 3 days a week thing, it's harder to get into the habit of that versus if you just do something every single day. All right. Okay, this is a question from Peppa. Peppa says, what do you do when you are tired after work but don't want to mindlessly watch YouTube and TV? Do you have some go-to activities and hobbies? Yeah, Peppa, that's great. I actually don't spend much time in front of technology. That's a decision that I made a few years ago. I had spent so much time addicted to video games when I was young. I used to play when I was in high school, 14 hours a day, glued to my screen, playing video games. I'm more of an introvert as well, so for me, I was more shy when I was younger, and I just avoided people, and I was very comfortable just being isolated like that. And then building a business online, obviously you have to be in front of a computer a lot and learn and study, and technology has a lot of incredible benefits, but the older that I've gotten and the more that I've been involved in that, I've also seen that there's a lot of negatives to it as well. And just like with often anything that comes out new, technology, it's like, wow, it's so great, it's so amazing, helps us achieve more, do more, be more productive, learn more. There's a lot of great gifts in it. But at the same time, I recognize that spending so much time in front of it overstimulates the brain and overstimulates neurotransmitters in the brain, like dopamine, for example. And that's why technology can be so addictive. Your phone is addictive, social media is addictive, YouTube's addictive. They know how to stimulate your dopamine to get you addicted to their product. And when it happens, when you overstimulate those neurotransmitters, then you get a high. You get a high, you get a buzz, but often that high and that buzz you get a tolerance for, and then you need more. You need more stimulation to get that. And then what happens is when you remove yourself from technology and you just like go for a walk or go out in nature or just try to be away from it, what happens is you can't, your real life often can't compete with the rewards that you can get that technology can provide. And so for me, I consciously detox myself from technology. And I recognize that life is to be lived in the real world. So I and Tatiana, we spend a lot of time. We go for walks. We take Kobe for a walk. We spend an hour or two a day just with our dog and training our dog. And that's very rewarding for us. And being present, we have deep conversations. We go just to the park and we have a blanket and just chill and just hang out there. I make puzzles. I've got a puzzle that I made recently and put countless hours into, and I enjoy doing things like that as well. We've got an easel here where we do some sketching and painting, and so we've been taking that up. In some countries when we travel, like when we're in Hawaii, earlier this year, and we're also in Costa Rica. We took up surfing and spent a lot of time surfing, which was amazing. Also, when we were in Hawaii, we hired a golf instructor and started learning golf and started going to the driving range, which was a lot of fun too. So we're always looking for things like that. We bought this like bike stroller. This stroller is actually for kids, and Tatiana and I are trying to have kids soon, and so we thought, well, let's get this because we can also put Kobe, our dog, in this stroller, and we can have bikes and we can bike around the city and whatnot. Because with a dog, you can only go so far, but there's so many different places we can go on a bike and different parks and whatnot and different hikes and being out in nature. So I, just try to spend my free time away from technology. I still use technology, obviously, for my business and for entertainment, but it's more strategic. So for example, yesterday, I was like, okay, I want to watch the basketball game. I'm a big Lakers fan, LeBron James fan. And so I said, okay, I'm gonna watch that on TV. So there's things like that, but I don't just mindlessly, aimlessly scroll without any purpose or intention. I think that's just a waste. And I'm just very conscious of just removing myself from that, not unless there's something specific that I want to get from it that I'll use it for. So that's just kind of where I'm at now in my life is I just value more being in nature and being away from technology. And it's just very peaceful. And I, the path that I'm on now, I'm not really pursuing success because I've achieved it. There's not really anything more that I want on the outside. I've got everything that I want and need. For me, I work more on my inner self and my happiness and my fulfillment and my presence in life and all of that. And for me, the things that I work on, the habits that I cultivate there, such as being more in nature, has been a very key component of my mental health and just my emotional well-being. Okay, this is the question from Amatress. What's your best piece of advice for someone who has struggled to find something that they're passionate about? Amatress, the way that you find your passion is you try many different things. You experience the buffet of life, but the things that you try, you go deep in. Okay, you don't just stay at the surface. Because here's the big mistake that people do. They try painting, they try a sport, they try jogging, they try yoga, they try whatever it might be. They try a business opportunity. They try an online business, whatever it is. They try it once, twice, 3 times, 5 times, 10 times, but they don't go deep enough to get proficient at it to actually know whether or not it is something they're good at and love and something they're passionate about. So if you try something once or twice or 3 times, the reality is when you try anything that's new, you're gonna suck at it. You're gonna suck at it. It's just, you've never done it before. If you try to go dancing and you never danced before, I remember I did this hip hop dance class when I was 21 years old, and there's like 15 people in the class and there's these big mirrors and everyone's dancing to the music and I've never danced and I'm trying to dance and I'm like looking like an idiot and I'm embarrassed and I suck at it. Well, if I leave that dance class and say, well, dancing's not for me, it's not my passion, I'm not good at that, then how do I know that's not my passion? You have to do it enough times until you get proficient at it. So if I just kept going with it, did 10 dance classes, now all of a sudden I can dance, I can move, I'm coordinated, it's fun, it's more enjoyable, and I see the newbies that come in the class and I'm like, oh yeah, that's where I used to be. I used to be like that, I remember that. But now I'm actually giving it a chance to see whether or not I like it or not. So you got to try things, but you have to give it a chance. You got to commit to it for a certain period of time so you can get the proficiency of it. And often when you get proficient at things, then you start to love it because it feels good when you're good at something. It feels good when you can do something and it comes to you a lot easier. But if it's a struggle and a challenge and you just stay at the surface with things, you're not going to experience it. So you got to go deep with things and try different things and really just ask yourself what's important to me, what's going to fulfill me, what's going to excite me, what's going to make me feel great, what's going to make me feel amazing, or what's something that is going to be meaningful for me in my life. And you start to evaluate things in that way, you'll find certain things that you'll enjoy and that you're passionate about. So there's probably things right now that you have a bit of a passion for, or you enjoy doing, things that you consistently do. For me, it happened to be personal development because, when I was 17 years old, I discovered the self-help world, and I just got drawn to it, and I got excited. I was just learning and learning and learning. And when I was 21 years old, I gained so much knowledge and experience and made a transformation in my life that when I was trying to figure out what do I want to do with my life, what direction should I go to school? All my friends are going to school. Should I do that? I don't know. I didn't like school. I hated school when I was in high school. I don't want to do that. What kind of job or career do I want to have? And I was trying to look and brainstorm and look at what I was good at in school. I was actually really good at drafting, so I was going to be an architect at one point. And then I was like, oh, maybe I should get into like real estate. Like there's an opportunity there. And then I was like, oh, maybe I should get into sales. And I started selling cutlery through a company called Cutco. I'd go to people's homes and do a knife demonstration and take a penny and cut the penny in half with the scissors and sell cutlery. I worked at a car dealership. I worked in the family business with my dad. So I tried many different things. But when I was 21, I was like, I love to grow. I love to improve myself. I think that's just such a valuable thing that I just see so much benefit in my life. And I like to talk about these things. Like the friends that I started to surround myself with, we would kind of coach each other and we'd give each other feedback and support one another and say, I can give some good advice here. Maybe I can help people in this way. And then I looked, well, who are the people that made the biggest impact in my life that influenced me? And I was like, oh, hey, that's Tony Robbins and that's Brian Tracy and Jim Rohn and all these different speakers and people that had written books and created videos and audio programs and courses that I had been through that benefited my life. And so I thought, if I could do anything, that's what I want to do. I want to be that for someone else and help someone else in their hard times or help someone else achieve success or help someone else overcome their challenges. That must be an amazing career to have. And so I got drawn to that, and I wasn't a speaker or anything like that, but I realized I can learn how to be a speaker and I can learn how to be a coach and I can get better and better at it. And that's how you become a master. And when you get really good at things, you really get, the benefits from that and whatnot too. So, that'd be my advice. Try different things and have a good mindset going into those things and give it enough of a chance. Someone asked about cryptocurrency, about intelligent risks within cryptocurrency. I've done some videos talking about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and whatnot, and I'm bullish on cryptocurrency. I believe in it long term. I'm an investor in Bitcoin and Ethereum and a few other ones. Really, I mostly stick to Bitcoin, to be honest with you. There was a time where I was more into all the different altcoins out there. But for me as an investor, I'm more of a conservative investor, I'd say, because I don't need to take big risks at this stage. I can make my money in my business and I got a lot of cash flow. And number one goal when you make money is to keep it, to not lose it. And so I want to make sure that my investments can grow, and there might be opportunities to get a greater than 10% return, but that's also entering into a territory of more risk, and I don't really need much more than that. I'm pretty comfortable with it. So for me, the majority of my portfolio and my investments are in large cap companies and stocks. The biggest companies in the world I invest in and I love. Those are the most secure companies. Those are the companies that have so much cash and so much, just so much potential and growth that's available within them that I believe in them long term. I invest in ETFs and index funds. And then cryptocurrency I invest in, I'm bullish on, but I also know that it's risky. I know that there's a lot of ups and downs. I know it's very volatile. Yesterday, cryptocurrencies crashed, I think 15, 20% or whatever it was. I bought, so I bought a little bit on the dip because I do dollar cost averaging. I buy a little bit here and there over time, and sometimes it's higher, sometimes it's lower. But if you're thinking long term, and for me, I think long term is like 10 years, 20 years, then the question is, whatever I buy it at now, do I believe it's going to be worth a lot more 10 or 20 years from now? And for me, the answer is yes, I believe that, but I could be wrong. Of course, with cryptocurrency, there's a lot of investors and institutional investors now, and bigger figures that are acknowledging it and believe in it and promoting it. Whether that's Elon Musk, although recently he bought a lot of Bitcoin and Tesla, but recently said it's not environmentally friendly, and that was something that contributed to the drop. But he still believes in it, and we'll come back more to it once it becomes more these renewable energy sources, whatnot, to mine Bitcoin. But people like Elon Musk and obviously Jack Dorsey from Twitter and Square and many others, but there's also a lot of very intelligent investors and people like a Warren Buffett and a Charlie Munger and people like that don't believe in cryptocurrency as a great investment. So who's right and who's wrong? I don't know. Nobody knows, right? You can't say for sure with certainty. I believe, and I'm more on the bullish side of it. And so I want to take place in that and be a part of it and invest a certain amount of money, and I'll continue to invest in it, but it's going to be very insignificant to the grand scheme of my money. If it goes up 5, 10, 20 years from now and it blows up, great. I had a part in it. I profited massively. But if it struggles, if there's ups and downs, if it gets banned, right now China, for example, is trying to ban cryptocurrency, and there's certain governments and all these things that are outside of your control when there's a new asset class like this. There's a lot of uncertainty with it. It's going to be in for a bumpy ride, and it could all blow up and backfire. Who knows? So I'm willing to take that risk, and that's what you've got to really ask yourself. Are you willing to take that risk, and are you comfortable with it? And I don't think there's any reason. There's probably a certain amount that everyone can agree, whether it's $100 or $50 or $1,000. There's probably a certain amount for you that you can just afford to lose. It's not going to hurt your life that much, but you can have a piece of the upside with it. So cryptocurrency, I find there's a lot of people that are drawn to things like this because they're in a mentality of get rich quick. They're in the mentality of like, hey, what can I, Bitcoin and crypto, that's going to change my whole life. I've been struggling my whole life, and this is it. This is the opportunity. And they put all their money into it, which I think is very irresponsible to do. You don't take that level of risk because, it can backfire in a huge way. So I've always been more a believer of getting rich slowly over time and putting in the work, adding massive value. Business has always been the number one, the easiest and the fastest way to generate a lot of wealth. And once you have wealth and you have money, then you can invest it in stocks and crypto and real estate and all those things, because you need money to make money in those different areas. So for me, it always started with putting my attention and putting my risk into business. And then with the money that I'm making, then diversifying my investments and putting it in these different asset classes and trying to be as conservative and not fully conservative. I mean, I do take risks for sure, but majority is, I'm very comfortable just being more conservative as an investor. All right, let's do some more questions. Great questions, guys. I know there's a lot, and I'm spending quite a bit of time answering them, but I'm trying to pick questions, like I said at the beginning, that are the most relevant for everybody. And I know some of these topics a lot of people have on their mind, or they're trending right now, or people are thinking about. So thank you for your patience if I haven't gotten to your questions, but I'm really just trying to pick the ones that I think could help the most amount of people here and is most interesting or relevant for everyone. Okay, here's one. Do you practice meditation or yoga, and for how long? Yes and yes. Meditation, sometimes 10 minutes, sometimes longer than that at 30 minutes. Meditation, I swear by. I think it's one of the most important things to do and habits to have in your life, because it helps you to calm your mind. And most people, they're so up here in their head that they don't know how to be present in their life. And so meditation has been a must for me, especially because there's just so much. The world that we live in now is very different than what it was like 20 years ago. There's just so much overstimulation of our minds that we have to learn how to calm our minds. And so meditation helps me to do that. Sometimes I like to use the Calm app, right? So Calm, you can get that on your phone. There's also Headspace. So I like to use things like Calm. I just bought this device called the Brain Tap, because I have a PEMF mat. I actually just bought a brand new PEMF mat. I'll maybe share that at a different point, but I lay on that, and the Brain Tap is this headset with an audio as well, and they're like more guided meditations, which I really like too. And then yoga, I love yoga. I need to do more yoga, to be honest. I don't do it enough, and stretching. We do it, Tatiana and I, just here. We have yoga mats. We have a big TV here. Sometimes on YouTube, we go to Yoga with Adrienne, I think is her name. So you guys can YouTube her. She's got some great 20-minute to 1 hour long yoga things. And for me, I have a lot of like tension in my body at times. Like I've got like my back pain and things like that, just from years of being in front of a computer so much and not really, having the best posture, but also like a lot of weightlifting too, which makes your body really tight and tense at times. So for me, just like stretching out my body is so, so important and loosens me up a lot. Jay says, how does affiliate marketing work? Affiliate marketing is the process of promoting someone else's product, and then you earn a commission, an affiliate commission for every sale that you refer. So for example, let's say there's a product on Amazon that you want to promote. Amazon has an affiliate program. So any product on Amazon, you can join Amazon's affiliate program called Amazon Associates. You can sign up for that, and then you pick what product you want to promote that's on Amazon, you get an affiliate link. Okay, so you get a link that you can then use, and you can share that on your blog, on a YouTube description, on your Instagram, on your email marketing, on a website, whatever it might be. You can share that link, and when other people click on that link and they go to Amazon and they buy that product that you link to, you earn an affiliate commission from that. And so Amazon's affiliate program, they pay up to 10% commission on products, and then there's other companies that have affiliate programs, they'll pay 50% commission or more. There's different types of products that you can promote, but that's essentially what affiliate marketing is. And I love affiliate marketing, and I think it's one of the best opportunities for someone to build their business, because you don't have to create the product, you don't have to invent it, you didn't have to come up with the idea, you didn't have to take the risk to see whether or not it's going to work and invest thousands of dollars into something and spend months of your life creating it and putting it together. You didn't have to create the website for it and the sales funnel and the copywriting and collect the payments and provide customer support. You didn't have to do all of that stuff. All you got to do is just join the affiliate program, get your link, promote the product, and then for everyone that buys, you get a commission from that. And the reason why I love that is because for me personally, I'm a consumer. I buy a lot of stuff, but the stuff that I buy are things that are actually meaningful for me in my life. Like I don't really care for a lot of materialistic stuff in my life at this stage. I've had that, and I've lived in penthouses, and I've had all this expensive furniture. I've had a sports car. I got rid of all that stuff about 3 years ago when I left Canada, decided to be a digital nomad, travel the world. I value traveling and putting my money into things like that. So I don't really have much stuff. I have a few suitcases and some storage of stuff. But for me, I put my money usually into my health. And so I invest in a lot of, for example, I think you can see there's a mini trampoline here, a rebounder. That's the Bellicon. Amazing product. I've got this very product in different countries in storage because I can't travel with it. I love it so much that I just want to bring it with me everywhere. Behind me here as well, right here on that sink counter is a water ionizer. It's a water machine, and that's like a $5,000 machine. And so these are things I put my money into that I get an ROI in my health, or I invest in courses so that I can gain more education, and I invest in, like the Oura Ring here that tracks my activity and my sleep. Like I put my money into things that benefit my life and help me long-term in my life. And so when I come across a product like that and I use it and I love it and it's like impacted my life so much, well, guess what? They have an affiliate program. So this Bellicon rebounder has an affiliate program. I can sign up for it. It's free to join. And they'll give me an affiliate commission if I share it with other people and they happen to buy it as well. And how cool is that? I get to share with other people something that they might not have ever known about, or something could be a big solution for them in their life as a problem, or it can help them get in better shape, or it can help them change their life in so many great ways. I can share that with them. They get a benefit from it. And I can also earn a commission from that and actually turn it into a business and scale it and reach more people and help share more great things with the world. So that's a pretty cool thing. And that's what I love about affiliate program, because I'll never invent that. And I have no interest in creating it, or I have no interest in selling it, but I can earn a bit of money by promoting it and sharing it for those that are interested in something like that. So that's essentially what affiliate marketing is. And it's one of my favorite ways of having a business, because there's a lot of stuff that I go through and buy. There's a lot of things that I buy just to experiment and try, see what works and what doesn't. And when I do come across something that's really great, I like to share that. I like to promote it. I like to get that out there. And I discover these things through other people and other people's affiliate marketing. right? So I discovered the Rebounder and a lot of these products because of other affiliate marketers that shared it, and I bought it, through their link, and I benefited, and it's just the coolest thing, I think. So yeah, that's how affiliate marketing works. And by the way, if you want to learn more about affiliate marketing, I actually have a course that teaches how to do it and how I built my brand, Project Life Mastery. And you can learn about that if you go to www.affiliatemarketingmastery.com. Okay, affiliatemarketingmastery.com. You can maybe throw that in the chat for you guys, but that's if you want to learn more how it works, then that training will explain it for you. All right. Great questions, guys. All right, here's a question from Sunil. Again, I apologize if I mispronounced your name. I just started an online business, but finding it hard to balance between my 9-to-5 job and my business. How do you manage your time well to be productive on your work? Okay, great question. So I'm in a bit of a different position than you are now because, I work 10, 15 hours a week and I don't have to work, so I'm in a different position. But I've been in your position of having a 9-to-5, and I coach people all the time that are in the exact same situation as you, because most people are when they're starting a business. Most people, they have their 9-to-5 job because you need that to support yourself and pay your bills and even to have some cash flow that you could invest in your business, but it's consuming 40 hours of your week. But you got to now use your evenings and your weekends or early morning in order to work and build your business. And so to manage your time, well, you work 9-to-5. What are you doing before work, and what are you doing after work, and what are you doing on the weekends? See, those are pockets and open opportunity for you to dedicate to building your business. So you've got your 9-to-5, you got to treat your business now as a part-time job on the side, and you got to schedule it in. Just like, if you have a 9-to-5, but you've got another job part-time, well, part-time, you might work at that job from 7 p.m. till 10 p.m. 3 days a week, right? Or maybe on Saturday and Sunday, you've got this other part-time job. But if it's a part-time job, you got to be there at a certain time. If you don't, you're going to get fired. You got to treat your business as that. So you got to schedule in your calendar, this is when I go to my second job. And my second job is me working on my business. And that's going to be this day and this day and this day from this time to that time. And I'm going to put myself in an environment that can support me. So I might, have an office or a desk in my home. If I have other family members or other people, I'll tell them not to disturb me so I don't have distraction, because this is my part-time job and I'm going to treat it as such. Or you can go to a co-working space, or you go to a coffee shop, you go to the library, right? But you've got to treat it as a second job. So you just schedule it. I have clients that I've worked with where they would work on their online business before their 9-to-5 job. So if they start their job at 9 o'clock and they ended at 5 o'clock, they would work on their business at 5 a.m. till 8 a.m. in the morning, right? And they realize that, look, when you wake up in the morning, you have the most energy, the most willpower. But as the day goes on, what happens is you're depleting your willpower. There's a great book that goes into this called The Willpower Instinct that goes more into willpower. There's only a certain amount of units of willpower that we often have, but it gets depleted. That's why, later in the evening time, you're more tired and exhausted and you're burnt out. You've used a lot of your mental RAM and brain power. It's a lot easier to now buy into temptations to watch TV or Netflix or to eat junk food because your willpower is low. So in the morning, it's often going to be the highest. And this person said, a lot of my clients, believe this, and I totally love it as well and encourage it. What's more important, your 9-to-5 job or your business? Well, your 9-to-5 job is important right now because it's what provides for you, right? But it's not going to get you to where you want to go. So your business, on the other hand, is important now because it's actually more important than your 9-to-5 because that's what's going to give you freedom and give you the ability to no longer even have to work a 9-to-5 and be able to work 10, 15 hours a week like I do, or to do nothing all day, or whatever you want all day, what you want, when you want, whenever you want, right? So you got to treat your business even more important than your job. And what better way to do that than to wake up in the morning and work on it before you even get to work? So that could be 5 o'clock to 8 a.m. in the morning, and prioritizing it in that way. And just, that's the mentality that I took in my life. I just made my business so important It was more important than hanging out with family, more important than hanging out with friends. It was more important than chasing girls. It was more important than just watching anything that could just give me immediate gratification in the moment. I was willing to, at different stages in my 20s, lock myself in a room for weeks and not even leave the house and just, work on my business. Like, that's just how obsessive I got around it. And I'm more of an person kind of prone to being isolated because I'm like more of an introvert and things like that. That's why, I was in Panama last year during the lockdowns. Panama lockdown, where people couldn't leave their house during the pandemic. Men could only go out 3 days a week for 2 hours. And the only things that were open were grocery stores and pharmacies. And women could also only go out 3 days a week for 2 hours at a time. And the window that you had to go out was based on the last digit of your ID. So if your ID says like the last digit of it is 6, you can only go out from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Like, that's it. And that was like that for months. And Tatiana and I in Panama, it was like, didn't really affect us that much because we're very comfortable just like being inside and working and using technology or whatever else it might be. So that's just kind of how we've been. But I know that it could be a challenge for some, but you just got to really make your business important, schedule the time for it, work your ass off on it. It will pay off, right? You always got to remind yourself that it's going to pay off. It's going to pay off a year from now, 3 years, 5 years from now. It will pay off. You got to believe that though. And if you don't believe it, you're not going to do it. But if you do believe it's going to pay off, then you're going to be willing to do it. So I just believed so much that I'd be successful one day if I just, worked my ass off, and it did. So. Okay, great questions here, guys. All right, Tommy says, hey Tommy, how did moving to another country affect your family life? Yeah, Tommy, well, it definitely did because I have family in different parts of the world, same thing with Tatiana. And so, and we've also, even actually before we moved away from Canada, we'd always travel for about 3 months out of the year. And so we'd always travel to, Southeast Asia, Thailand and Bali for a few months, or South America, whatever it might be. So we're always kind of in the habit of that. But, it affected it, but it also, you can, with technology, communicate with family or friends through Zoom, through social media, whatever it is. So you don't necessarily always have to be in person with people all the time to have that connection with them or to build a relationship or whatever it might be. You can do that virtually. And for us, we always come back to Canada during the summertime or certain times throughout the year as well. So I think that it's not just how much time that you spend with people, but it's the quality of time that you spend with them. You can have certain friends and relationships and family members that maybe you don't see that often, but the time that you do spend with them is really deep and is very high quality. And then at the same time, like for me, when I was younger and I lived with my mom, my parents went through a divorce. I lived with my mom for years. I would say when I lived with my mom, that's when my and with my dad at different points, that's when my relationship with them was actually at the worst, because we'd get annoyed with each other, we'd get irritated. When I was younger, I tried to avoid my mom, especially when I was in high school and whatnot. But it wasn't until I moved out and had my own independence and we had space. Now I've got an amazing relationship with my mom and my dad and my siblings. So sometimes being around your family 24/7 is not the best thing for your relationship with them. Sometimes having some of that space, I've learned, can be really valuable. Ooh, the world said, when was the last time you cried, and is it ever okay to cry, for men to cry? Ooh, I could cry right now. I'm an emotional guy. I do cry. I cry over things that touch me and things that move me. And, and of course it's okay for a man to cry. Vulnerability is not a weakness. Vulnerability is strength. Vulnerability requires courage. And really what I would describe this to you as is understand that every human being, man and woman, has two different types of energy within them. We have a masculine energy and a feminine energy. Okay, and it doesn't matter what your gender is. You can be a female, but still have masculine energy within you. In fact, there's some females that they have a more dominant masculine energy than feminine, right? And there's also some men that have a more dominant feminine energy than masculine. And There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone has a certain nature that they more gravitate towards. But one of my mentors, David Data, he wrote a book called The Way of the Superior Man, and many others. Amazing guy. I did a workshop with him last year. He believes that human beings, we want to be fully integrated in both. And so masculine energy is something that, men, for example, might come more naturally for you. Masculine energy is the ability to focus on something and be able to execute and take action on it and cut off anything else and no distractions. And it's about competition and challenge and pushing through and breaking through those things. It's more of like a warrior type energy that you can bring out, or more of like a king type energy where you plan things and you have a vision and you set goals and you're more structured and organized. That's more of a masculine energy, and that's very useful and is what is required in order to achieve success. So oftentimes, men have more of a masculine energy typically. Some men struggle with their masculine, and they've been more feminized. For me, for example, I have a strong feminine energy because I didn't have a strong father figure growing up, and I grew up more under my mom and my sister. And so I developed more of a sensitivity and more feminine energy. And I was also intimidated by other men, growing up, because I was very shy, got bullied by other kids and whatnot. And I'd often connect sometimes more with females, but I'd be like their friend, right? They weren't attracted to me because I was in my feminine. I didn't have a masculine essence to myself. So I was more feminized, and I was more of a pleaser, wanting to make everyone happy. And I had to learn how to cultivate masculine energy, okay? So that's something that's very powerful and very useful for achieving things and having success and things like that. And your feminine energy is more about feeling, sensuality, being able to be in the present and experience things fully. Dancing and music and, getting dressed up and, all these little things like that can bring out more feminine. And that's beautiful. I think feminine energy is more powerful than masculine. Feminine energy is way more fulfilling, way more fun. Because masculine energy is about taking things that are big and shrinking them and cutting them down and cutting off emotion from it. Feminine energy is about taking things and making them bigger and feeling it and experiencing it fully. So your feminine energy is actually where you experience most of the fulfillment. It's more living in the present moment, whereas the masculine is more living sometimes in the future and not living in the present. And so feminine energy is beautiful, but you want to have a balance of both. So you've got to identify where, what do you need to cultivate? You don't want to be just this masculine man that doesn't have any sensitivity, any caring, any compassion. One of the reasons why my audience on YouTube is almost 50-50 with men and women. And I have a lot of females that follow me because they connect with my feminine energy. They can feel my heart. They can feel my presence. They can feel my love. They can feel, just that sensitivity that I have within myself. And if I was just like this masculine macho guy, the feminine wouldn't connect with me as much. But I also have a strong masculine energy as well. I've cultivated and built that because you have to build that muscle in order to achieve things in life. And the challenge also is recognizing what energy you use in different contexts and different environments. And so, when you can understand that, like Tatiana has a strong feminine, that's her nature, but she's also built a strong masculine that's helped her build her business and success. But in a relationship, you've got to recognize the context of you need a masculine and feminine polarity in order for there to be attraction. Because if I'm in my masculine and Tatiana is in her masculine, there's no magnetism. We repel. It's like magnets, and you have a positive charge and a positive charge, and you try to put them together, they won't connect, right? They'll repel each other. But if you take a positive charge and a negative charge, boom, polarity, there's attraction that happens there and sparks. And so sometimes for Tatiana, she goes more into her feminine, I'm in my masculine, that creates attraction, right? Or sometimes I might be more in my feminine and Tatiana in her masculine, and that also creates attraction. So it's a lot of fun when you can really understand it, but it's learning how to cultivate those energies and how to use them in a different context. If I want to achieve something, okay, I need to bring out my masculine for this. But if I really want to feel something and connect and love and have compassion and caring, relationships, for example, I'm going to bring out my feminine. That's more useful for me in that environment. So learning how to use both of those energies is key. But of course, being in touch with your emotions is a beautiful thing. Why not? Don't be afraid of that. Oftentimes, people, they don't like to experience they are afraid to cry or to experience emotions because, hey buddy, I'm gonna introduce you. You guys have met him before, but he's growing up now. Ugh. Kobe, he's waking up from his nap. Wanna be on YouTube, buddy? Say hi to the camera. He was in his crate, he's crying. Mwah. Mwah. He's getting big, so I won't be able to lift him up much longer. Mwah. Mwah. So this is all feminine energy, this love that I have for him. But I also wrestle around with him and go into this masculine mode. I got hairs all over me now. Go into a masculine mode too, where we rough each other up and do that, but I also have the feminine caring and sensitivity with him. Got dog hairs all over me. That's the one thing, guys, with golden retrievers and a lot of other dogs. I've got them over my face now too. Okay, hopefully that answers your question. All right, let's move on. Whew. Brown Brother says, sorry for repeating, do you recommend writing Kindle books about things you're passionate about, but the market may be saturated even if you market the crap out of it? If you market the crap out of it, who cares if it's saturated? That doesn't matter. If there's a saturated market, it's a big market. There's a lot of money to be made in that market. That's why there's a lot of people in that market. But if you market the crap out of it, and especially if you market it outside of Amazon, like you use your blog and funnels and run ads and you use all that sort of stuff, then competition doesn't really matter that much because now you're getting traffic outside of Amazon, right? You're not just competing with everyone on Amazon, because if the saturated markets on Amazon you're referring to, they're only saturated because there's only two ways of marketing your product on Amazon. One is through Amazon search. So Amazon's a search engine. You identify keywords, you try to rank your book for those keywords, or you run ads, or maybe your book gets recommended, in different categories and things like that. That's limiting you in building a business if you're only depending on that. So instead, if you build a blog, if you build a brand, if you do what I've done and what I teach inside Mastering Book Publishing and Mastering Book Marketing, you don't have to worry about that. So if you do something you're passionate about though, you're gonna be way more effective in marketing it, because if you've got a book that you're passionate about and you wanna share that message, if you're passionate, you'll go on a podcast and be interviewed and talk about your book. You'll write blog posts and articles and attract people and funnel people into your book. You might create a YouTube channel and create content on topics that you're passionate about and then mention to people, and oh yeah, I've got a book, you can check it out here. And now you're building a business that's not just a book business, it's actually a brand that consists of books as one product that you sell, but now you can also do affiliate marketing and everything else. So you're not limited, and that's what I teach and that's what I believe in. And the other thing I want to say too is you do not just want to write Kindle books, because also I don't look at things now as Kindle publishing as much as I used to. I actually look at it as Amazon book publishing, which consists of Kindle, paperback, and audiobooks, because there's more opportunity to make more money often with paperback or hardcover books. And even with audiobooks, you might make way more money with an audiobook than you will with your Kindle book. So don't just look at things as a Kindle book. You're shooting yourself in the leg if you look at it that way. You're really limiting yourself. So I teach people how to do what I've done, build a brand that you're passionate about. Your brand happens to sell a book perhaps, or other books, but it can also have many other streams of income. And then you actually have a funnel, that consists of books and other products that all tie into one and all complement and connect and cross promote one another. That's how you build a big and scalable business. Okay. Most life-changing book for me. This is from Singh. It was life-changing based on the timing in my life. So just taking that into consideration. A book that changed my life early on as 18 years old was Tony Robbins' book, Awaken the Giant Within, as well as Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Another one that really changed my life too, actually, was called The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino. The Bible obviously has changed my life. One book that I really enjoy, I really like learning history and learning from incredible human beings through history. There's one book that's one of my favorites called The 100, and it has the 100 most influential people throughout history. It's a really thick book, but it kind of, has like 2, 3, 4, 5 pages on Jesus, Muhammad, the Apostle Paul, Martin Luther King, like you name it, Thomas Edison, Albert Einstein, like the most influential people throughout history. It goes into, Mother Teresa, just incredible, Nelson Mandela, and just incredible human beings. So I love that and learning that. As well as, I've got a book on psychology and religions, books like that have also impacted me too, because I just like to go deep into those topics. I've done some videos on my channel that go into top books that I recommend that have changed my life. And so you guys can find that on my YouTube channel if you just probably do a search on my channel for books or something like that. And then I also have, Kobe, I don't want to step on you, buddy. We're too close. I also have a resource page on my website that lists some of the top resources that I use and recommend, including books. And so you guys can check that out if you want. If you go to www.projectlifemastery.com/resources, we just updated that recently, and we break down the top resources, books, seminars, courses, technology, software, all that on different categories such as relationships, spirituality, health, business, marketing, you name it. So maybe we can throw that in the chat for you guys, the resource page, because I think you guys can get some good value from that. Sorry. Okay. So question here is, Kona says, hey, Stefan, how do you approach planning and structuring your videos? Kona, I'm not really the best with that. I'm more of a YouTuber and an influencer who's going to speak from his heart. I don't do YouTube full time as other YouTubers do that you might see, who are just like incredible. They're incredible what they do. It's amazing how some people, they just spend like their whole week creating a YouTube video, and they structure it and they plan it and they edit it and they just put so much into it. It's really incredible. That's not the kind of YouTuber and person that I am. I'm the kind of YouTuber that I'm going to share with you topics and ideas and things that I'm learning and things that I think can help, but I'm going to do it in a way that's raw and authentic and real, and almost as if we're friends and we're talking to one another and I'm sharing with you something. And so I don't really edit my videos much and, kind of shorten it down to like a condensed video that just has information. I'm more the kind of person that you might listen to or follow that's going to share with you stories and just and connect and be authentic and ramble at times and all of that, but it's going to be real. So that's kind of how I am. So the process that I usually have is I schedule a day where I'm going to do my filming, because I find that I like to film a lot of videos back to back because I get into a flow for that. But I have like a document on my computer that has video ideas. And so I often come up with ideas and I just, for a time when I want to film, I'll throw that in my document. And there's things that I'm learning perhaps that I might want to go more into and share, something that I think could really benefit you guys that I might come across, or I might watch someone else's content or get a good idea that I'm like, okay, that's a good idea, or that's a good title, or that's a good headline. I think that could do well. I could talk about that. So I get ideas from other people as well. But when I create my videos, I kind of have an idea about what I want to say and what it's going to be about. I usually start with the headline of what it is. And then I just turn on the camera. I put myself in a peak state, because I believe it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. I just want to give information, but I want to have passion and emotion and the enthusiasm behind it. And I put myself in a peak state and I just share from my heart and share and just try to, kind of what I do here. Just you guys give me questions and I can talk about a lot of different things, and I could probably take a lot of the questions that you guys have and turn that into a standalone video and expand on it. So that's kind of something that I've built up over many, many years now of doing public speaking, and I enjoy it. I enjoy challenging myself to try to do everything in one take if I can and not have to edit things. I'm kind of a bit more old school, I guess, in that way, where I see, for me, creating videos and having the ability just to improvise and just speak on my mind and my heart and be witty about it, that's a valuable skill that I want to build and build and build, that YouTube allows me to do. So I will say though, if it's a video where I'm sharing a lot of information and it's like like I did a video on Tuesday that's on my YouTube channel called 7 Millionaire Habits That Changed My Life. If you haven't watched it already, I encourage you to do so. You guys can watch it after this. So that's something I think about it, and I'll write out what those 7 habits are, right? And sometimes I might, if there's a lot of information, I'll have my computer so I can reference, okay, habit number 1, habit 2, habit 3, habit 4, and I'll kind of use that as an outline a little bit. But I usually just maybe have an outline or just have a rough idea of what I'm going to share, and then I just turn on the camera, put myself in state, and just communicate it. If it does well, great. If people benefit, amazing. If not, that's okay too. Not every video is going to help everybody or impact everyone in the same way. But that's what I've done now for almost 10 years. It's been 9.5 years since I started Project Life Mastery on YouTube, which is a long time. It's a long time to be a YouTuber now. So when you do something that often, you tend to get a lot better at it. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Okay, Andreas says, best advice to protect yourself against haters, negative people, and critical people. I'm very prone to getting affected by the negativity of others. Andreas, the best advice I can give you is out of sight, out of mind. See, it only affects you if it's within your sight, if you're in proximity to it. So, of course, if you, Google yourself and, someone writes something negative about you, or if you're reading, people's comments or people's publicity on you, whatever it is, then that's in your sight and it's going to affect you. It can affect you. But if it's out of sight, then it's going to be out of your mind. So for me, I mentioned to you guys, I work 10 to 15 hours a week. There's just no humanly possible way that I can read everyone's comments and messages that I get and emails that I get and all that sort of stuff. And honestly, reading a lot of that stuff, it's a full-time job, but also the positive stuff, which I do appreciate, can often just feed the ego, which is what I don't want, because I don't want to create this ego which I'm attached to, and now my ego tries to preserve this identity that I always have to maintain. And I'm actually now kind of like in a prison, essentially, because when you form a certain identity and you're attached to it and other people reinforce that identity, then it's very difficult to change that to be anything else. So I recognize the power of the ego, and I like to try to, look at myself just as a simple person. I'm not that special. Every day of my life, I just do kind of simple things. I go for a walk and, live my life. I'm not a famous person or celebrity. That's just on this world of the internet of how other people perceive me and the identity that they make for me. So I try to even avoid a lot of the positive stuff that people say, even though, it does touch me and I do appreciate it. But the negative stuff, I just ignore it. I don't even see it. So it can't even affect me. So I don't know what, some people like me, some people don't like me. I don't know. I have no idea. But it doesn't affect my life, and it shouldn't affect your life either. It's not like you have people coming up to you on the street saying negative things to you. I've never had that ever happen to me. But of course, on the internet, we got, if you're a YouTuber like myself and got over 63 million views or something crazy like that, it's a lot of people that have watched my videos. Of course, there's going to be people that don't like me or whatever it might be. But really what you got to recognize is that people that are haters or saying negative things, they don't know you, right? They're only actually just reacting to a perception of you. They're only seeing one aspect of you, maybe from one video or from one perspective, and they don't really know who you are. They've never met you or interacted with you, and they don't know your heart, they don't know your soul. They don't really know you. So they can't, whatever judgments they have of you, aren't that really shouldn't be that impactful. You shouldn't really put too much weight into it. So that's one thing, but also you got to recognize that people that are negative and they hate and they complain and they, say negative and hurtful things to you, it really has nothing to do with you. When people do that, they're only projecting their emotional state, which most often is a state of suffering. Because look, people that are happy, and I know a lot of people that are happy because I make happiness my study and I surround myself and find and seek out some of the happiest, most fulfilled, most grateful, most incredible people that you can possibly imagine. I'm obsessed with learning from them and being around them. I know many of them. The people that are happy and loving and living in beautiful states, guess what? They're not on the internet writing negative things to other people. They're not on the internet trolling people and being negative, because they're in such a blissful, beautiful state that when you're in a beautiful state in your life and you're happy, you want to share that with other people. You want to give, you want to light people up. You have an energy about you that's infectious and contagious to other people, and people feel good around you. And you don't want people to have a negative experience because you care about other people. You're more conscious. And when you're more conscious and caring and considerate of other people, you just focus on loving them and sending love. On the other hand, when people write negative things, it's a reflection of the state that they're in. So are they happy? Of course not, because happy people don't do that. They're suffering. They're having a bad day. Maybe they lost a family member or friend, or maybe they're struggling in their job, or they're sick, or they have a disability, or they have a mental health problem. They're depressed. They have anxiety. They have bipolar. There's all these things that unfortunately most of the world and most people are in a state of suffering. And so that's why when you see online all these negative comments, it's a reflection of the state that they're in. So in communication, there's only two types of responses. There's a loving response, and then there's a cry for help. If it's not a loving response, then it's a cry for help. So when someone says, I hate you, or you suck, or you're stupid, or you're ugly, or whatever it is, that's a cry for help. That's someone that's suffering in their life. They hate themselves. They're judging themselves. That's why they're judging you, right? I can promise you that. If they're judging you and everyone else, they judge themselves so much harshly. And often, again, they want to feel significant. They want to feel important. And by being mean to other people, it's a way that they can do that. So there's a lot of that online. And for me, I want to be part of the solution, not the problem. You'll never see me write anything negative towards anyone online. I've never done that before. It's just not who I am. I'm someone that I just try to take the high road. I try to be respectful to people. Part of my sensitivity and my caring is that I've received negativity and I've been bullied when I was a kid. And I don't, part of the gift of being bullied when you're a kid or having negative things is that it might have hurt you. And so the lesson, the gift from that is you say in your life, you're not going to be like that. You want to be a good person. You want to treat people with kindness. You want to be nice to people. Those are the values and the principles that I try to live by. And you just ignore people that are suffering in their life. You love them. You don't judge them and think that you're better than them. And you don't even look at them as bad people, because I don't look at them that way. I think that, people are suffering and they're good deep down inside, and they're just lost, or they're going through a rough time. And if you put them in a better state or better circumstances, then the best of people will show up. And so I just try to love them and pray for them. And, I just try to do a lot of good in whatever I can, and just believe in what I'm doing and share good information and try to help where I can. And I'm not perfect. And so obviously when you put yourself out there and you're, an influencer, let's say, yeah, people are going to catch the mistakes that you make. And, oftentimes, people, when you make a mistake or you're not perfect, people expect people to be perfect. Right? And so they try to tear you down. We have this cancel culture where people try to just wipe out someone because of a mistake they made, as if they're perfect and everyone else is. Nobody is. So everybody does make mistakes and whatnot, but you just continue to move forward and share and give and have good intentions and grow from every experience. And sometimes there's some value and some good feedback you can take from criticism, and you can look at that and try that on, and maybe that can help you to be a better person as well. But, you just focus on those that appreciate what you do, and surround yourself with a good group of people that love you and are on the same level of consciousness as you are. And then you just try to share and give. And that's what I try to do. And that's what I encourage you to do. So just don't get caught up on the negativity and the drama. I don't even I view YouTube videos once in a while, but I never look at the comments. I actually have something on my browser that blocks comments. I just don't care. Oftentimes, a lot, like if not unless it's like a personal development videos like this, the comments can be good and useful. But a lot of other like sports videos. So I watch some. I'm into basketball and whatnot, and I watch sports shows and other topics, or maybe it's the media or like the news and things like that. I don't even get into the comments of that or the politics of that, because it's just it's just not that. There's not much value in that. It's just a lot of negativity and people that are just communicating at a lower state of consciousness. So I just personally try to avoid it, and I use the internet to consume good stuff to put up here, and I might look at some other things too, and that might not be as positive, that a dose of that, but it's majority positivity that I want in my life and surround myself with. So just surround yourself with positivity, my friend, and you'll be in a great place. Whew, great questions, guys. Great questions. This is a great question. Irfan says, what do you think about porn addiction? Well, yeah, Irfan, it's definitely an addiction. And I've actually experienced that because, for me, I've shared this before. I did a video actually years ago on how porn is destroying your life. You guys can find that on my channel. I watched porn as most young men have and do, and I did when I was young in high school and got exposed to it. And you have your hormones and you get exposed with the internet and whatnot, and you can get addicted to it because the brain is gonna fire off dopamine, the neurotransmitter, anytime there's a potential reward. And when there's a survival reward like sex or procreation, and you see attractive women or, nudity or, certain images like that, then it's going to fire off your dopamine. And then on top of it, when you're having an orgasm, which is the most powerful and most pleasurable experience that a human being can have without using any drug, which spikes your dopamine levels to insane levels. When you have an orgasm and you link that to porn, now your neural pathways in your brain are linking together, because neurons that fire together wire together. So you watch porn, you spike your dopamine, you have an orgasm, you're now making that connection as massive, massive pleasure to these images. Now you have this addiction, it's got a hold on you and you can't get rid of it. And what happens from that is with things like porn, and not just porn, like video games can do this, sugar can do this, and junk food, and gambling, and overspending and shopping, binge watching YouTube videos, things like that that overstimulate your dopamine levels. The problem with that is you're overstimulating your dopamine levels beyond ways that are natural, and you keep raising your dopamine, that what happens is you have a dopamine hangover, right? Because whatever comes up must come down. You can shoot up your dopamine, now you have a dopamine hangover, and you come back down to reality. Actually, your dopamine goes less, and you can't fire it off unless you're getting your drug, which is porn or sugar or video games or whatever it is. So that's why a lot of people, they struggle with depression. I think this is a huge factor, not the only, but a huge factor of depression and mental health and anxiety and a lack of focus and ADHD. A lot of people deal with these challenges because they're overstimulating their brains and their neurotransmitters that they need that as a drug in order to feel normal. And then they kind of feel this numbness in their life. They go about their life and they're numb because their brain's not firing off dopamine. This is hangover. They have brain fog and they have a hard time feeling joy or happiness, and they feel lazy and they procrastinate and they sit around and they just have no motivation to do anything. And when you're having a dopamine hangover, you're depressed or sitting on the couch, you're just watching YouTube videos, guess what? When you have a dopamine hangover, how do you get yourself out of that? More dopamine. So now you go to your drug to boost it. So you go watch porn, or you order junk food, or you just sit and watch videos, you play video games, because they're trying to bring it up, because nothing naturally can compete with that. And then the bigger problem, what will happen is when you have a relationship, right? Because now when you have a relationship, you can, in some cases, no longer be attracted to your partner because you've trained yourself to be attracted and aroused to these visual stimulations on your computer screen. And oftentimes when people watch porn, they have so much variety, right? So they go from this image to that video, to that video, to that video, and they have all these tabs open, and they're just getting this huge dopamine high that no longer intimacy with a real person doesn't arouse them. And I know a lot of men, I never experienced this because it didn't get to this extent, but I know a lot of men that deal with erectile dysfunction, a lot of men that, just can't have an orgasm, and sex is not pleasurable. They can't be intimate with a person, right? There's so many issues from it. So it's a huge problem that's not talked about that often. And, I've dealt with it. I can relate and connect. I've also dealt with video game addiction when I was in high school. And I even had a binge eating disorder a number of years ago when I was doing fitness competitions, and just went too extreme with that as well. So I've dealt with this to different extents. And, there's a lot more information now. That's usually what happens with these things. I mean, even with social media, people are now starting to realize that social media is not as good for you. And, you're being manipulated a lot of times because you're getting addicted to it because of how it's been set up and how the algorithm is working. And most people are very unconscious to it. So one of the best things you can do is have awareness. Try to eliminate these things from your life. And when you do, and that's why I share with you guys, for me, like, I'm more interested in being away from technology so that I can experience dopamine. Like, for me now, I experience happiness so much easier. It used to take a lot to experience happiness. Now it doesn't take much. Like, I feel happy just looking out at a view, looking at the sunset, looking at nature, having a conversation with someone, looking into Tatiana's eyes, playing with my dog. Like, little simple things make me feel incredible because I'm no longer am dependent on getting high levels of dopamine from technology. I can get it in very easy and simple ways. Exercise and fitness and hobbies and connection with people. So it takes a while to rewire your brain. You can do dopamine detoxes. You can block that stuff from your computer and your devices. But yeah, it leads to so much more of a happy and fulfilling life. And so if you want that, I think that eliminating those things over time is key. Hookup Culture Community says, what's your take and experience with cannabis, recreational and medicinal? I use cannabis in my life once in a while, and I think there's some benefit to it. I've used CBD and some cannabis with THC. It's legalized in Canada and most states in the US and whatnot. I think there's some great benefit. I've had some great insights. I've had some great connection and conversations rather. Fun, it can help alleviate anxiety and stress and change your state. And there's some great benefits. And, in the medicinal side of things, I've heard some people, it's really helped them with pain and kind of, physical ailments and challenges like that too. However, I do also recognize, I think there's a negative component to it. I think that, you can overuse it, you can get addicted to it. It does still stimulate your dopamine levels, and so you can get addicted to cannabis. You can overuse it as a way to escape and as a coping mechanism rather than actually dealing with the problems and challenges of your life. You always need to, change how you feel by experiencing this high. And that's what you got to be careful about. I'm very wary about things that I don't want to live a life where I can't just be and experience normalcy. But a lot of people, they don't like how they feel day to day. So they're always looking for a drug, whether it's cannabis or alcohol or porn or sugar or technology, as a way to escape how they feel and to experience a high, because being normal is just not satisfying for them. So they always try to avoid that and escape that. And they don't like what shows up. So you got to be careful with that and using it as a way to avoid things and cope with things in your life. Moderation, I think, definitely can lead to a bigger appetite, and you can gain weight and eat poorly with it. You got to watch out for that. And it can also make you lazy and unmotivated and make you sit around and just, not do anything. So I recognize the pros and cons and just try to be objective about it, but I think there's a great utility in it. I'm actually an investor in many cannabis companies like Canopy Growth? Canopy Growth and Aurora Cannabis and many other ones too. So I I like the market as an investor as well, and I think there's great benefit and value, and I'm happy that there's more research and studies coming out about it too. But yeah, everyone can be a little bit different with it. And do I smoke it or vape it? A bit of both, but I prefer a vaporizer. I actually have something called the Volcano, which is this like volcano that has a bag, and essentially the bag fills up with the vapor. Sorry guys, Kobe, I don't want him to unplug the cord here and we have no more video. Yeah, so I use a vaporizer, and I think that's the healthiest way, because also a downside, you got to watch out for your lungs. I actually know someone that had lung cancer, and it's because he smoked weed every day, right? And so you got to be careful with that too. Kobe, no. Buddy, behave yourself. Okay. All right, guys, we'll do a few more questions here. Let's see here. Let's see. Star says, how do you feel happy or content once you've actualized your highest potential and achieved your goals? That's a great question. I think there's a few different things that have helped me with that. You know, I know like many years ago, you know, I've done the wheel of life. I've shared this with you guys on my YouTube channel, where you look at each area of your life and you ask yourself, on a scale from 0 to 10, what would I rate myself in each aspect of my life? So you'd say, okay, on a scale from 0 to 10, financially, I'm at, you know, a 7 out of 10, or I'm at a 3 out of 10, you know, 10 being where I want to be. Or with my health, I'm at, you know, a 3 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10, or my relationship on a scale from 1 to 10, I'm at a 5, or I'm at an 8 or at a 9. For me, that was always very useful for me to make progress, because I could say, okay, this is where I want to be, this is where I am, and what can I do to expand that? But honestly, for me now at this stage of my life, if you were to ask me on a scale from 1 to 10, what would you rate yourself in your finances? I would say 10. What would you rate yourself in your career? I would say a 10. What would you rate yourself in a relationship? I would say a 10. Now, the 10 is whatever you define it to be. So my 10 might be different than your 10. Financially, your 10 might be a billionaire, right? And so you might feel like a 2 because that's the standard and that's the goal that you have for yourself. But the thing with me though is that before I would never say 10. It would always be like 9, you know, or 9.5 or 8, because I always thought, okay, well, if it's 10, then it's perfect. And there's no more growth. There's no more, that a 10 is 10 out of 10. And so nothing's ever a 10 is what I believed. And so it'd be like 9. It would always be like a 9 out of 10 if, you know, if I was close to it. But now the way and the belief that I had there was that there was something missing. There's something more that I wanted or I needed. Whereas my belief system now is that these areas of my life are like a 10, in the sense like I'm happy, I'm content, I'm satisfied. I've got more money than I could spend probably in my lifetime. I'm set for life. My career, I'm doing what I love and I'm on a passion. Doesn't mean that I couldn't make more money. Doesn't mean that I couldn't build my career even further. Doesn't mean that like my relationship is incredible. Doesn't mean it can't be better. But for me, now I just look at things as everything is just perfect the way it is. There's, you know, ups and downs with it, but it's just, I don't have this something that's missing at all. I feel just content and satisfied with it. But if something's a 10 out of 10, why can't, maybe it could also become an 11 or 12 or 13. So I don't even limit myself there, but I don't look at there's anything missing for me in that area. I look at it as I'm happy and content with my life, but if I can grow, then should I? Why not? Of course. You know, I can be very content in my relationship, but if I can improve it and have even more love and passion, then should I pursue that? Great, sure, of course, why not? You know, I could have millions of dollars, but perhaps I could experience even more. Should I? Why not? So I don't look at anything as missing. I'm just like happy and content with things as they are in my life. And That doesn't take away my motivation and my desire to grow beyond that, because I'm always going to grow, I'm always going to expand, but I'm not doing it from a place that there's something missing or that there's something empty or that there's something wrong with me. I kind of look at everything as just perfect the way it is, and I just want to take it to another level if that's what's available for it. Also, I'd say I've shifted my values. Your values, there is always, here's an example, I've done a video on this too. We all have a hierarchy of values of what's important to us, and whatever your hierarchy is will determine the decisions that you make. And for me, for example, I used to have success as a high value, but my happiness and my fulfillment and gratitude and things like that were much lower on my list. They're still on my list of values, but just a lot lower. And as a result of this, I didn't allow myself to experience happiness and gratitude to its fullest extent unless I was first successful, or unless I first did this or did that, or other values that I had. And when I realized that if I change that, I still have success on my list, but less important to me, and I bring up happiness and gratitude and fulfillment, all these other values, now the difference is, regardless of whether or not I'm successful or achieve anything, I'm still happy and I'm still grateful and I still am fulfilled in my life. And so the difference is, when you have success here and happiness here, you need to achieve in order to be happy. But when you flip it, you put happiness here and achievement here, now you're happy no matter what. And then you can still achieve, but you're happily achieving now, rather than achieving to be happy. So for me, that's a huge shift of deep, deep work that I've done on myself, which has been key. And then also, whether or not you feel that something's missing in your life, or you're not feeling, you feel something's missing or you're not complete, often is your focus is going where? Your focus is going where? In the past, in the present, or in the future? Which one? Oftentimes in the future, or you're in the past. But if you're really just in the present, see, the present moment is this moment right now. This present moment is you being there, watching this video of me right now on your screen. Maybe you're sitting, maybe you're standing, maybe you're listening, whatever. That's the only thing that exists right now, is this present moment that you're in. Wherever you're driving to, or what you have to do after this, or what you have to do later, or all that does not exist in this moment, because all that is real is right now in this moment. That's something that's in the future. So most people, they're not in the now, they're not in the present, they're off in the future, and they're thinking about what's to come, and what they don't have yet, and what's missing in their life, and they're not really in the present. The present is where happiness is. The present is where joy is. The present is all that really matters. So to be successful, you need to focus on the future. You have to plan, strategize, set goals, and always be moving towards something. But to be happy and fulfilled, that's living in the present, in the now, and not even really worrying about everything else. So that's a huge piece. Just finding the happiness in the present moment and living in the present moment. Very difficult to do and manage all of them. And that's more of an Eastern philosophy, so Eastern philosophy and spirituality is more living in the present, versus Western mindset in North America. A capitalist mindset is always achieving and pursuing more. And often you're being marketed constantly that you're not enough the way you are. And so you need more money, you need to be more attractive, you need to be more fit, you need a better car, a better house, you need this, this, and this in order to be significant and worthy. And that's just an illusion. Right? And when you recognize that illusion for what it is, and that you're already amazing the way you are, and then it changes that dynamic. Okay, Oliver Shutterspeed says, "Hey Stefan, you're really my biggest idol on YouTube." Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate that. A question to you: do you think you can still make a living from Amazon affiliate marketing as a photographer? Well, I think, Amazon affiliate marketing is really tough, because you get such a low commission, right? Up to 10% commission on products. So that's a really low commission. And the problem with promoting physical products as an affiliate marketer is that physical products, the companies only have a small profit margin. It's not as great. And so they can only give so much as in a commission. So the way that you make money with Amazon affiliate marketing is usually selling higher ticket products, like cameras, like a DSLR camera. that might sell for $1,000, $2,000 plus, 5 to 10% commission of that can be $100 or $50 or more than that. So that's something that can add up, but it can be challenging to make a lot of money from that. That's why, for me, I like to use Amazon for certain products, but I don't make that much from Amazon's affiliate program. I find other products that have better affiliate programs and pay better commissions that I really get behind. So in the photography niche, I think you can make your commissions on Amazon by, I assume you're maybe promoting cameras and that kind of equipment. You can still get great commissions from that, but I'd even branch off and not just depend on Amazon, but find other affiliate programs and products you can promote as well. Because you never want to build a business that's dependent on one thing, one platform like Amazon. Because then you're looking for a full-time income, right? Yeah, making a living from Amazon. If you're going to be making a living and quitting your job and living off of this, and maybe you have kids and a family and a mortgage and cars and all that sort of stuff, you don't want to take such a big risk that everything's dependent just on Amazon. What if Amazon bans your account, or what if something happens that affects your entire income? You can't live off that. So when you want to live off of your income and have stability, you've got to have multiple pillars in your business. It's like a Parthenon, not a one-legged stool. If you're just doing Amazon affiliate marketing, you have a one-legged stool, right? Because that one-legged stool can fall over. A Parthenon that has multiple pillars, maybe you have Amazon affiliate marketing, but you have some other great products in the photography space. In fact, I even know people that publish books on Amazon on photography. So that's kind of like another monetization method that you could have. When you diversify it, now you're going to have more stable and secure income. So can you make a living off of it? Yes, if you're promoting more high ticket products and you're doing it really well, but I would not depend on it, and I would try to find other ways of making money through other affiliate programs as well, so that you don't have all your eggs in one basket. All right, someone here says, hey Stefan, I did HELOC and took out 100,000 Canadian. Any suggestions? What is the best place to invest this money given the current stock market conditions and real estate here in Vancouver? Thank you. Well, if you have a large sum of money like that, you don't want to invest it all at once. You're going to probably slowly invest it over a period of time. I'm very privileged and very grateful and blessed to be in a position where I have a lot of cash flow that comes in. And there'll be cases where I'm sitting on hundreds of thousands or $1 million plus. And it's like, I don't want to just invest all of that because, all at once. I kind of space it out over time because it's very difficult to, just invest all of that in one go. So for me, if there's a certain amount of money that I have, I'll put some of it into some stocks, right? So some maybe ETFs or index funds that you can invest in. And then whenever I invest in companies like a stock, I don't put in all of my position at once, right? So I might, for example, like Coinbase. Coinbase is a stock that was just went public recently in the US stock exchange. And it's basically a platform the most popular platform for trading and buying cryptocurrency. And so I knew that Coinbase is overvalued, as typically a lot of IPOs are. So I knew it was going to be overvalued, but I wanted to gain a position in it. So I put in $2,000. Okay, I'm not going to put in like $30,000 at once. Maybe I would, but $2,000, and I want to see what happens, right? And so sure enough, it's actually been going down. And so I've been building my position even more. And I put in a bit more money, a bit more money. So if you have a certain amount of money to invest and you're going to choose an asset class, put some in and then have some patience, because a big part of investing is patience. You have to be patient with your investments and how you deploy your money. So I would choose a few different investments. I would choose probably some index funds that I can invest in. Now, right now, the market's, and it's kind of been like an all-time high. It's pulled back a bit in the last few weeks or so, but still, it's all-time highs right now if you're to invest in the S&P 500 or, the top 60 companies here in Canada on the TSX. So, you might want to put some in, and that way, if it goes up, great, you're benefiting from the upside. But if it goes down, which I think there'll be a correction and, more volatility, then you can have some of that money to put in. Now, real estate, with $100,000, unfortunately, you're probably not going to get that far in Vancouver. Vancouver is one of the most expensive real estate markets. We're actually right now looking to buy a place downtown. The luxury market has actually been quite slow downtown Vancouver. A lot of people are moving away from the city out to the suburbs. But right now, real estate in Canada in general has been really, really blowing up. But nonetheless, you can maybe still there still could be some investment opportunity in that. I don't really, I personally think, and I'm not a big real estate guy, although I do want to buy more real estate, and we're looking to buy a summer home for us here in Vancouver. You got to look to see with real estate what kind of return you get. For example, some places you might get like a 6% per year return. And you can get better than that in the stock market, especially just with an index fund. You can get 9 to 10% just with the S&P 500. Historically, over many years, that's what it's been. So, and you can diversify a lot more across stocks than you can with real estate. So I look at real estate as very long term. Not unless you have a strategy of flipping and that whole sort of thing, but it's pretty long term for you to get your return, because even when you first make your investment in it, you're going to have legal fees and maybe property transfer tax in Vancouver, things like that you're going to have to pay, that really your first year or two of that investment, you're not going to get a positive ROI from that. So it's really going to be more long-term. So there could be an opportunity with real estate that you could explore, but I like the stock market, or I like starting your own business and also investing in yourself, because really those are the two areas you're going to get the best ROI. In yourself, you're going to get the best ROI in your life. And then in a business, you can generate money so much easier and faster than you will through stocks or real estate, things like that, which are going to take a lot longer for you to really see the returns that you get from that. Okay, Vilkova says, thank you for your live. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. Can you please tell the exact order, step by step, shortly of building Amazon FBA? I just started and got a bit lost. Well, I won't go into it right now in this video, because I actually have a free 4-part video training series that goes into step by step the process. So it'd be most efficient for you if you want to learn how to sell on Amazon, just to watch those videos and that training that I have. It's free. If you go to www.projectlifemastery.com/FBA, maybe we could throw it here in the chat for you guys to check out. But that's a free 4-part Amazon training series that I have. And each video I think is about 50 minutes each, or an hour long. But I just really break down the steps, and I even go into like the business plan. Like, here's the steps that you're gonna go from zero to making $100,000 a year and more. And then I also go deeper into product research, which is one of the most important parts. I got a video dedicated just for that. And yeah, that training will give you that direction and show you how to get started. And I also share some great resources that can teach you how to build your business as well. So I would just watch that. I think that'd be the best use of your time and everyone else's. If you guys want to sell on Amazon, go to that link in the chat, and I think that could benefit you guys. Okay, Chairman EI speaks. Do you think pure solid gold being better than the stock market? No, although right now inflation's like a big concern and is happening. And so that's kind of why we've seen some volatility and people dumping stocks and buying assets like gold and silver. I do own gold. I own it as an ETF on the stock exchange. You're asking about pure physical gold. I don't see why pure physical gold would be better than just buying an ETF. I mean, you have to, even with physical gold, you have to store it somewhere, like maybe in a safe, or at a certain bank or things like that, which can have expenses. And if you could just buy an ETF or something like that, it's basically the equivalent of it. So is it better than the stock market? I mean, no. I mean, metals have not outperformed the stock market. It's just a good hedge against inflation. I know people like Robert Kiyosaki obviously has been really bullish in promoting a lot of heavy metals, and so I see that point. But I still, there's a good videos that you can watch on YouTube. Do a YouTube search for Warren Buffett, his thoughts on gold. And I think there's one video I watched a year ago. It was like Warren Buffett versus Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio has the biggest hedge fund in the world with Bridgewater, and they have different opinions on it. Gold. Warren Buffett doesn't really believe gold is just a non-producing asset, whereas people like Ray Dalio does. So it's good to kind of hear those different mindsets and perspectives around it. But I own gold, but I lean towards honestly Warren Buffett's mindset. You can just by investing in producing assets like companies that grow in value, and just investing in the U.S. economy, for example, I think that's the best returns that you can get. And even Warren Buffett, he's said this for many, many years. He's I think the greatest investor of all time. You could say he's a bit outdated with some of his beliefs and strategies, but even just his recent annual shareholder meeting. He answered one question, people saying, should I put my money in Berkshire Hathaway or should I put it into the S&P 500? And he said, I wouldn't try. He even says that he's going to have his kids and I think his wife's or his family's money is when he passes on, a majority of it's just going to be put into the S&P 500 and not even into Berkshire Hathaway. So he has more confidence in the S&P 500 over the long term beating his Berkshire Hathaway. He wouldn't bet against the S&P 500. So I don't know. I subscribe to more of that belief system, although I do think there can be some great value in owning some gold and just diversifying. Great questions, guys. Great questions. Hey, thank you, Psych2Go. Appreciate the love. Thank you, guys. Hopefully you guys are getting some good value here. And if you are, I'd love for you guys to hit that thumbs up button. It gives me some support to let me know that I'm on the right track here. And it's kind of the equivalent of giving me a round of applause if I'm doing a good job. So I appreciate that, guys. Okay. Whew. Let's see. So Narisha says, looking to invest $1,000 and has a TFSA, which is a tax-free savings account in Canada. And that's great. If you're a Canadian, definitely have a TFSA and max that out whenever you can because your money is growing tax-free. So definitely take advantage of that. I have some videos on, I think I have one called like, where to invest $1,000 or something like that. Here's the thing. $1,000, even though for you, I get it, it might be a lot of money. I remember there was a time for me when I was young and $1,000, man, that took me a long time to save up. It was a significant amount of money. The thing with investing $1,000 is that the ROI you're gonna get on that is not really gonna change your life. I hate to say it. Like, look, if you invest $1,000 in a stock and you double it, that's amazing to double your money. That's not easy to do. That can often take years to double an amount of money. But if you double it, you have now $2,000. And as great as that can be to double your money, is that going to change your life? Like with $2,000, are you going to be able to really do a lot with that? Are you going to be able to buy a home? Are you going to be able to buy a car? Are you going to be able to travel the world? Are you going to be able to like really benefit a lot from that? No. So with $1,000, and yes, you could add to it, you can invest more. It's really going to take you a long period of time before that money grows and compounds into an amount of money that can be life-changing. And that's going to be when you retire. If you're able to add to that and slowly $1,000 here, just every year $1,000. Once you get to 65 years old, if you're young enough, then you can at least be in a position, your TFSA has grown and you're in a position where that money is really accumulated and now you can live off your investments and you can have a much easier retirement. But really it's just gonna change your life way off in the future unless you have more money to invest. So for me, it kind of depends what you're after here. Like, do you wanna change your life? Do you wanna make significant amounts of money? Do you wanna be able to take that $1,000 and turn it into tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars in the next 5 years, maybe 10 years, like that's really what's going to change your life. And you're not going to be able to do that through stocks or real estate. I mean, you need more than $1,000 for real estate, obviously, or even cryptocurrency. So the way that you're going to do that is often by creating a business. And that's what I've always looked at with my money, especially when I was young. I was really more focused on investing my time and my money in something like building a business, which could actually scale over a matter of years. It's not going to happen overnight. There's no get rich quick, but in 3 years or 5 years, man, that can really grow into a 6-figure income. And now when you got 6 figures or $1 million a year that you're making, now you have a lot of money to now invest in stocks or real estate, and you can really grow. And that's essentially what I've did. That's how I built my multi-million-dollar investment portfolio. It didn't start with the money to invest came from business, and that's what allowed me to build that. And I've gotten great returns on that, and I've gotten, significant amounts of money I've made. That's only because I've invested significant amounts of money. So for me personally, I don't know where you're at, but I always believe I got the best ROI I'm going to get is investing in myself. Man, maybe I got to invest in my confidence, my speaking skills, or get a coach, or go to some seminars, or get a course, like something that can help me get a better ROI with my mindset, with my ability to take action, with my creativity, with my productivity, something like that. That's number one I always look at. And then number two would be in business, and like an online business, which I think is a great opportunity. Now, not everybody wants to build an online business. I get that. Maybe you've got a great job or there's a career path you're pursuing that's amazing for you. And I don't know how much money you'll make from that career, but not unless you've got a lot of positive cash flow every single month, like $1,000 or more that you can invest in stocks. It's going to be very slow for you to accumulate large sums of money. But with that being said, I just want to mention that to you because that's been my approach and my mindset. However, where can you invest $1,000 in a TFSA? Personally, I would just put that into an ETF. I would put that into if you're buying, for example, in the Toronto Stock Exchange, if you want to buy the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF, which basically means that you're going to own a piece of the top 500 companies in the United States, which is the greatest economy in the world. Way better than Canada, by the way. I invest in both, but man, one of the best decisions I ever made was investing in the US. And I've invested in Canada as well, but Canada, there's not many good companies in Canada. I hate to say it. Canada, the economy is very heavily based on the financial sector. There's great banks to invest in Canada, RBC, TD Bank, Bank of Nova Scotia, BMO. And it's also very heavy energy, oil. And that's why, the Canadian dollar and the economy has not been competing that well because they've taken some big hits to their oil sector. And technology, Canada is really weak. I mean, we've got Shopify, that's a great company to invest in. But there's just not that many other great companies that there's good insurance companies like Sun Life and Manulife. There's some good ones, but the US was one of the best decisions that I made to invest in because I've gotten some incredible returns there. There's just way better companies to invest in. So my point is though, just an ETF, an index fund, and the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF that you can buy in Canadian dollars on the Toronto Stock Exchange. The ticker symbol for that is VFV. VFV. That would be one that I'd probably invest in. And with $1,000, you really can't diversify that much. I mean, just putting that into the VFV, is going to give you enough diversification across 500 different companies. So I think that's what I would do. And I just really build that position. And then maybe at other points you can add, once you have some more money, you can diversify even further from that. Okay, great questions, guys. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. Great topics. Keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming. We've been going for 2.5 hours now. All right, someone here, Shubham says, I'm 20, living with my parents, how to live on my own. Well, you're not alone, Shubham, because most people that they're 20 years old are going to be living with their parents. I moved out of my mom's house when I was 21 years old, and it was one of the best decisions that I made. And, I did it because I just got a job and I moved out, and it was not easy. I moved out with roommates, so I lived with a few different friends, which was a really amazing experience to have some roommates, and it was a really positive environment for me. But roommates allowed me to not have to have big monthly expenses. And so it was one of the best decisions for me, because you're not really going to grow up until you move out, until you're on your own and learn how to be independent. When you live at home with your mom or your dad, then, you're going to be provided for, and they're probably going to feed you and buy groceries for you and do your laundry and do a lot of those things. And that's a benefit, take advantage of that, because you can save money if you're smart. You can save money, you can, get ahead a little bit in that environment. But for me, the growth came when I decided I'm going to move out, and then I had to step up in my life, and I had to grow, and I had to find ways to make money and support myself. And that's how you become, a boy to a man. That's how you grow up and become more independent, and you gain a lot of confidence from that, and you gain a lot of self-esteem. So what I would say is determine a plan on how you can do that. How much money do you need? Like, you should, for example, right now, do research and look online, okay, different places you could rent or roommates, and look, okay, how much would it cost for me to move out? So I need to make this amount of money every month. This is how much groceries was going to cost, my rent is going to cost, my car payments, my cell phone, my internet, all of the expenses you can think of, listed out. This is the goal. This is the target that I need to hit. How do you hit that? You're going to have to find a job or find a way to add value or find something that you can make enough to support yourself, and maybe give yourself 6 months. Okay, 6 months, I'm going to work towards this goal of being in a position where I can make this much, then I'm going to move out, and then you're going to be in for an amazing ride, which will be a lot of fun, but also be a bit challenging as well. So that's what I would do. Aviva says, do you stick to your morning routine? Well, what do you think? I've got a course called Morning Ritual Mastery. I've got a book called 67 Morning Ritual Habits. Of course I do. Of course I have a morning routine. I've been doing it for since I was 17 years old. It changes, different things. Now I've got a dog, and we go for a walk in the morning, and it's just a lot of fun and beautiful, and feel so grateful just to have that presence and that fun. And then I do all the other things that I do for my morning to take care of myself and to love myself and to be at my best and to plan out my day and to feed my mind, take care of my health and my body. So of course, your morning routine is something I'll always do for the rest of my life. Absolutely. You never stop doing it. Why would you ever stop doing it? Why would you ever stop giving your most precious asset of your time to the most important person in your life, which is yourself? And love yourself and take care of yourself, because the more that you do, the more you can help other people. The more you can give to your business, to your spouse, to your family, to your mission, to the world, by taking care of you first thing in the morning. So it's something you'd always do forever. How often do I rebound? Multiple times a day. Multiple times a day. Before this stream, early this morning, after this, in the evening time. I always have it out because I can just jump on it, changes my state, it's fun. Even Kobe, even my little puppy comes up on the rebounder with me too, so it's fun. Do you think that investing in luxury watches is a good investment? There are some watches that are investment watches that will appreciate in value, but a lot of them won't. So if you're really knowledgeable about that market, then sure, there's some that can. I've invested, I have like 2 Rolexes and some things like that, but I've also actually invested in sports memorabilia. If any of you guys followed me for a few years, 3 years ago or so, I lived in a penthouse, and in my office, I built this wall that had sports memorabilia on it. So I have an autographed picture of Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Wayne Gretzky, Conor McGregor, Muhammad Ali. I've got an item from Bruce Lee. I've got a few things like that. So yeah, certain things like that can appreciate in value, art as well. But the challenge can be, making sure there's a market for it. So it might be harder to liquidate than other investments. But yeah, it's another asset class that you can invest in. a certain amount, but it'd be a very insignificant amount compared to your main investment portfolio. If you chose to invest in something specific right now, what or where would it be? Well, I'm always making investments in my portfolio because I always have cash that I'm ready to deploy, and I usually, buy stocks when they dip. So I like to buy on the dip. So even, I'll just share with you guys. I'll just pull up my brokerage account now and just tell you guys some of the investments I've recently made. Let's just gotta do my face scan. Sorry. So one, I'm always investing in my business. That's always the best ROI that I'm gonna get. Always investing in my health. I mentioned to you guys, I just bought a $8,000 PEMF mat, right, that I've been using. I just bought something called the Brain Tap that is going to be coming to me soon. Just yesterday, I did a glutathione IV drip. Right now I'm doing this health protocol with my naturopath. A lot of things we're doing there. Right now I'm also doing a NAD. If you guys are familiar with NAD plus, you guys can Google it. But I do a subcutaneous injection of that twice a week, and that is incredibly powerful. So there's always things I'm doing in those areas of my life. But in terms, and I did mention that I'm looking to buy a luxury apartment, a summer home in Vancouver, although not the best investment. Usually when you're buying real estate for yourself, it's not as good of an investment as it would have been if you're buying it more for an investment purpose. Because when you're buying anything luxury, it's a very niche market. When you buy real estate as an investment, the best return you're gonna get is when it's more for the middle class, or there's a bigger market for that. But nonetheless, here's some of the stock investments. So yesterday, because Bitcoin, Ethereum, all of that dropped, I did buy Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I buy it, I've shared this before in a video, I've been now buying a lot of my Bitcoin and now Ethereum on my brokerage account. So I have like Coinbase and things like that too. But I've now been buying it through an ETF. So I've already shared that before with you guys in a video on ETFs. Yesterday, I also bought actually some of Verizon Communications. I like them as a communications company because they have a great dividend. So I always like to build up some companies that have really good and stable dividends. AT&T is a company that I invest in as well, but AT&T had a sell-off because they're going to be cutting their dividend or reducing their dividend. They're doing a merger. So unfortunately, they're not as good as anymore for those that are looking as income investors. Yesterday, I also bought the VGT, which is the Vanguard Infotech ETF. And when I make these investments, I have money put aside for this. And so I just kind of add to these positions that I already have over time when I see opportunities too. So yeah, the Vanguard Infotech ETF, tech has been pulling back a bit, and I think can even pull back a lot more. I did buy the Vanguard Dividend Appreciation ETF, which is VIG is this ticker for it. I bought the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF yesterday as well. That's VOO, adding my positions to that, as well as the Vanguard Total World Stock ETF, VT. I've also bought the Vanguard S&P 500 Small Cap. This is the top 600 companies in the US that are more small cap companies. The ticker for that is VIOV. And I actually bought 2 shares of Tesla yesterday as well. So like $1,000 or so of Tesla. They had a pullback and they're up 4% right now. So I bought yesterday, for example, the Purpose Bitcoin ETF, and that one's up 2%. Ethereum is up 8% right now. So I bought it yesterday, already got an 8% return on that one. Tesla is up 4%, right? So I bought it 4% cheaper than I did, and it's already gone up 4%. And, some of the other, so there's kind of been, that's typically what happens. There's a dip and then, things kind of go back up. But honestly, it doesn't really matter what, wow, it up 4% today. It doesn't matter because I'm a long-term investor. It's probably going to go back down, go back up. it just always kind of goes through that. So for me, it's just continuing to add to my ETFs, and I've been investing as early as yesterday in that, and we'll probably been putting in some more over the next few weeks. And I've done my videos on YouTube, if you're not familiar with them, on Vanguard index funds, the ones that I own and build long-term, and some other ETFs there too. So the videos that I put out on that are the companies that I invest in and been investing in yesterday too. All right, and we'll do a few more questions, guys. We're gonna wrap up here soon. Should I invest my only $400 in fractional shares of an ETF? You probably don't even need to buy fractional shares with an ETF. You could, there's ETFs that you can buy for less than $400 a share, but just put some of it into an ETF and then just accumulate more money and then just put more in as time goes on. What were the semen retention benefits for you? This is from Sander. So whenever I do semen retention, for me, mental clarity and focus goes way up. My IQ and just my creativity goes way up. Like I just have way deeper conversations. I can read like way deeper books and topics, and get into like just very intellectual type of stuff when I am doing semen retention. You have a way greater sensitivity to things, like in a good way. So you just feel like, you just can feel like just really good, just like sitting on grass, or looking at a bird, play, or to look at like kids play on the swing. Like you feel this more aliveness and presence and just more this connection and sensitivity to things. And that includes intimacy with your loved ones. So if you're, got a man or woman in your life, in my case, Tatiana, it takes lovemaking to another level because even though you're not having an orgasm and trying to ejaculate, you're so sensitive to touch and feeling. It's just like you can just go so slow and sensual. It just feels amazing. It just feels incredible versus, if you're if you're ejaculating a lot, you just kind of it just doesn't feel as good versus if you retain from that from a longer period of time. Usually you get the benefits after 30 days, of that. Your energy goes up, that's kind of the idea behind it, is that you're using that life energy and you can channel that through your body, and you can actually, there's certain tantric principles where you can channel your chi all the way up your chakras, all the way up to your third eye or the crown chakra, and that's huge, rather than just releasing that sexual energy that you have. So yeah, those are some of the main benefits. Sigmund Freud has said that the greatest human desire and motivation is sex. Sex is the greatest motivator, and Napoleon Hill said that in Think and Grow Rich as well. That's why he had a whole chapter on sexual transmutation, because sex it's this primal need. It's one of the purposes of life is to procreate, is to procreate and have offspring, and that's what ensures your survival. So it's based on survival, and often a lot of what we do as men and women is for that desire unconsciously. So even, for example, to be successful, often people want to be successful so they'll be significant enough to be able to attract a mate in their life and have, produce, great offspring that will survive. Or for females, is to become more attractive, to attract a quality mate, so that, so there's a huge desire and motivation that sex that affects us a lot. And when you can learn how to channel that energy through sexual transmutation, you can channel your sexual energy into your goals, into your relationship, into your business, into money. And it's kind of like one of the secrets of success that Napoleon Hill discovered. So I'm a proponent of that, and I kind of go through different phases where I practice that in my life. Okay, we'll do one more questions, guys. Amina says, advice on dealing with insecurities and self-doubt when beginning new projects with no prior experience. Great. Well, first I would say, Amina, is that there's 4 different stages of competence. I'm not sure if you've heard this before. So the first stage, when you go through anything new in your life, any new business, skill, opportunity, I don't care what it is, a new hobby, there's these 4 stages of competence. The first one is unconscious incompetence. Unconscious incompetence. This is where you suck at something, but you're just not even aware of it. You're unconscious to it, okay? That's where most people are with most things. The second stage that you go into is now conscious incompetence. So now you are conscious and you're aware of the fact that you suck, that you're not good at something. And yes, when you're consciously incompetent, then you're gonna have doubt and insecurities because you're incompetent, but now at least you're conscious and you're okay, yeah, I'm not that good at this, or I'm not, you have awareness of it at least, which is the first step. Now, as you continue to work on it and develop competence, now you're at the stage number 3 of conscious competence. Okay, so now you're good. Someone who's just incredibly talented. Oftentimes it's just unconscious. They're just a natural at it, right? They don't have to work at it. They don't have to think about it because they got to the point where they're just good and it's just unconscious for them. That's the point you want to get to. So it sounds like you're in the stage right now of conscious incompetence. Now, how do you deal with those insecurities is you understand that anytime you do anything new is when, at the beginning is when you're the worst at it. Again, if you are trying to learn how to surf and you've never surfed before and you're out in the ocean and the waves are pushing you back, you got a huge 12-foot surfboard and you're trying to swim out there and you're seeing other people surf and catch waves easily and effortlessly and you're just exhausted trying to get out there and you try to catch waves for hours and you can barely stand up. You're consciously incompetent and you're going to be insecure and self-doubt because you're going to look and compare yourself to other people. But you got to understand that's part of the process. Okay, that's you've got to get through the suck phase of something, right? And a lot of people, they don't want to go through that, so they avoid taking on new things because they don't want to go through feeling like you're not good at something. You've got to embrace that. You got to embrace the student and the beginner mentality. And so the way you overcome it is you don't compare yourself to other people. You recognize, hey, I'm not that good, but I can get better because the more that I do anything again and again, you get better at it. And so sure enough, you get on your surfboard and the first day's rough, you're going to be sore. You might be discouraged, but you just got to keep going and you keep going and going and going. And then sure enough, you eventually get good and all of those things dissipate. So the way that you overcome your insecurities and your doubts, you're going to have them, but the way you really overcome it is you just got to be so committed to what your goal is that you're willing to go through that. And all of that goes away in a matter of months because you just get competent at it. So you just, you don't beat yourself up. You don't be hard on yourself. You don't compare yourself to other people because it's just silly to. Like, you're supposed to suck. You've never done this before. You don't have experience. But guess what? That's everybody starting anything new. Nobody starts something and they're the master at it. Everybody, a professional athlete, a business person, everyone started in a place where they sucked. Every human being at one point could not walk and could not talk and would fall down and say the wrong words. And then they just kept going, and then now most people can walk and talk. It's the same thing with anything else. So it's when you have the expectation that you should be like competent when you're brand new at something, that's just silly because you've never done it before. So you just embrace it, and that's actually one of the most fun parts of it, is because when you're a beginner at something, you get the greatest gains. You get the greatest gains from that. I remember for me, when I first started weightlifting, I was 18 years old. I went to the gym and I couldn't do a pull-up. So what I had to do is I actually had to do negatives. So I just did not have the strength to do it. So a negative is like I would have to get a chair and then like get up on a pull-up bar and start in this position and then just allow myself to kind of drop down. And the negative repetition of that eventually allowed me to do a pull-up. And it was embarrassing because I'm at the gym and other people can do pull-ups and lift and they've got more experience and I couldn't even do a pull-up. But eventually I got past that and I just didn't worry about that. And I celebrated the progress that I was making and I acknowledged it. So you got to look at your progress and be like, oh wow, like I couldn't do a pull-up. I couldn't even do I had to do negative reps, but now a week later, 2 weeks later, I can now do like a little bit more negative reps. And now a month later, I can do one pull-up. And then like 2 months from now, I can do 3 pull-ups. And you celebrate that progress like it's the greatest thing, because it is, because that means that you're moving closer towards where you eventually want to be. And then you can do 10 pull-ups and 15 pull-ups, and now you're competent at it. So that's really how like life and anything works. Embrace it. It's fun. It's part of the journey. You know, just don't focus on it and don't get so caught up and worry about it so much. Just focus on making progress and getting better step by step by step by step. And sure enough, you will, because that's what success is. Success is doing the little, boring, repetitive things every single day, again and again and again and again, that really only improve you 0.001%, but over long periods of time actually leads to results. That's what success is. If you guys were to shadow me in my day-to-day life and see what I do, you'd be bored, you know, because yeah, I do my ritual and I go for a walk and I read and I do all these things that are kind of boring if you guys just to watch it with a camera following me around, but it's the repetition of that that leads to success and leads to competency. And I don't get so caught up in worrying too much about, you know, not being good at something, because I just know there's a process to it. And I've been through that process so many times, I just know what to expect. If you want to accelerate the process, get a coach, get a mentor, get a trainer, get a course, read books, you know, and that can accelerate the process. That's what shortcuts the learning curve for you, but you still got to go through a process. So that's just how everything is. You know, great training and guidance and help and support, especially if you're building a business, will give you confidence and get you more excited and can help you progress a lot faster. So that'd be my advice. Okay, guys. Okay. I got to go. I know there's more questions, but we've been going for 3 hours now. And we've actually got some cleaners coming here to clean our home. So I do got to bounce, but it's a pleasure to connect with you guys. If you enjoyed it, again, give this a thumbs up. I mentioned at the beginning of this 3 hours ago, the videos I've got coming next week that I know you guys are going to love. So I want to encourage you guys to subscribe here on Project Life Mastery if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon so you can be notified of those videos and other ones, that you guys don't want to miss. And then for those of you that have been following along with Project Next with Tony Robbins and Dean and the bonuses I put together, I've linked below in the description more information on that. And tonight is the last day to get access to it. So I mentioned that a little bit earlier, and I've been mentioning to some of you guys that are on my email list about that for those of you that want to build your business and make an impact as well. All the bonuses and everything they put together expires today. So if you guys are interested, the links are in the description of this video and you guys can check that out. So thank you guys so much for your time, for your attention, for your trust, for your questions, for being open-minded, for listening to what I have to say and what I have to share with you guys, for being a fan, for being a supporter, for hitting the like button, for subscribing to my videos, you know, for being so loving and positive, and for doing great things in the world and having a vision and goals and dreams and taking action to pursue and do great things and pay it forward. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for all of that. If no one's told you today that you're amazing, you are. I'll be here to tell you that you're an amazing person. You are enough. You are loved. And I just appreciate you guys so much. So thank you guys so much for your time and being here. And I wish you well. I wish you massive success and happiness and freedom and prosperity. And if I can help play a role and support you in whatever way, right here, Project Life Mastery is my way of doing it. And I just feel privileged to have the opportunity to have a space in your life, have an experience to be able to touch your life in some way. So thank you guys so much for that. I wish you guys well. Have a beautiful rest of your day or evening, and we'll talk again soon. God bless you. Take care.